We are supposedly streaming live. Let's go set this up so I can chat with y'all. It is Thursday night, July 25th, 2019. Lots of good stuff going on. Let's see if anybody's in the house. It is not as warm as it has been, but I still have the big rattling, noisy AC going in the background as a soothing ASMR backdrop for you guys to rattle your nerves. But I'll try and keep talking into this little lav mic as much as possible to drown out the power. Firsties going out to LaserDisc home theater. Goes 4K. Respect, my Sony Muse friend, though. Sony Muse and beyond. You're getting hard into the 4K realm lately, so I'm looking forward to seeing some update vids. So, and then once you get all set up, then you got to get one of those laser projectors we were just talking about. And start all over again. Let's see if anybody else rolls up. If not, I'm just going to talk to LaserDisc home theater for a couple hours. Try and keep them awake. Hopefully everyone's had a good week so far. Big news today was a couple things. I saw the trailer for Zombieland Double Tap. That was pretty good. But of course the big news in the video collecting circuits was Melinda's in the house. Welcome aboard. The announcement of Criterion Spine number 1000 today. And excellent. I'm glad YouTube is properly alerting the viewers. Strictly Sega in the house. What's up, my friend? Share, y'all. Gotta get those custom t-shirts made. I need to get like as many ridiculous catchphrases as possible so I can get like a whole arrangement of stupid shirts. Yeah. Get those going. But yes, everyone's all fired up about the announcement of Criterion 1000 being a sick 15 movie set of Showa Godzilla films. So that means I'm going to have a Criterion Collection copy of Godzilla vs. Megalon. So, Jet Jaguar, he's my man. Psyched about that. Yes, lots of Blade Runner talk. Yeah, the other big news of the week, obviously, everybody knows Rutger Hauer passed away in 2019, the same year as Roy Batty. Whoa! LaserDisc home theater goes 4K. Dropping a little donation so I can purchase a Sony Muse player. Sony Muse count. That makes the second time I said that. Or no, that's probably like the fourth time. Ryan's not here to keep count. That's slacker. But yeah, I'm psyched. It's not coming out until October, and conveniently, the next Barnes & Noble Criterion half-off sale will be beginning about a week or so, or probably maybe around the same day. Sometimes they start a little early, because it started in like a couple days before July this year. So yeah, I'm psyched. Pick it up, and I think it's going to be, I think retail was what, $225, something like that, or $250. So ooh, YouTube bucks. What? I want everybody's YouTube bucks now. I didn't know that was a thing. Give me all your YouTube bucks. But yeah, so it should be like $125, something like that, when the half-off sale comes. And I will gladly pay that for Showa Godzilla films, because I've been really dragging my heels on doing some proper Godzilla collecting, because between the LaserDisc and the LaserDisc box sets and the 8 million different Blu-rays and DVDs that have been released out there, I just know it's a lot of research to kind of figure out which ones you want to get, which ones are better, which ones have crappy American dubs versus longer theatrical Japanese cuts, etc. So I'm psyched. I mean, not to say that the Criterion automatically will be the best period for those releases, but I'm psyched for it. Paul Maudib in the house, getting your weirding module all fired up, ready to drop some worms on some Harkonnens and I don't know, cause a general ruckus, as one does. Godzuki, yeah, well, I think he was Minya at the time, but he's in there for sure. But yeah, when they had the Godzilla animated show, Hanna-Barbera, he was full on Godzuki, man. That was my jam. Godzilla and Godzuki. But yeah, Minya's up in there. There's at least a couple movies with him in there. So, you know you got to get it. Oh, actually, yeah, Austin's in the house. It probably isn't strange because generally one of us is watching Blade Runner at any given time. So it probably doesn't even seem that strange that you were watching the international cut and didn't even know Rutger Hauer had passed away. I don't have a ton of Rutger Hauer flicks, but yeah, that 5-disc Blu-ray of Blade Runner is sweet. Yeah, love it. In fact, was it Bill? My friend just got the HD DVD briefcase version. There, no, the 5-disc is not in 4K, but there is a sweet 4K release of the film proper. I think that's just the one final cut on there, but it's supposed to be beautiful. I haven't gone and picked it up yet because I'm a slacker, but it's on my list. But I've heard nothing but great things about it, and but the 5-disc Blu-ray set, even though some of them have DVDs mixed in there for special feature discs, is just comprehensive and kick-ass, and the documentary is great, and everything's great. So, love me some Blade Runner. But yeah, I don't have a ton of Rutger Hauer flicks on LD. I've got Nighthawks on LaserDisc and Blu-ray, of course, and many cuts of a Blade Runner, but I don't have Blind Fury, and of course on Blu-ray I've got Sin City and just a number of other, Batman Begins. Yeah, it's the final cut. That's what I thought, and it didn't come with any of the other goodies in there. But yeah, I'm definitely gonna get it. When it first came out, it was always like around $25-30 or so. So I've been meaning to get it when it goes on sale. Strictly Sega's doing a Bond marathon. Excellent. Never saw the first two more ones. Wow. Oh, Casino Royale. That's top 5 for me. Spencer's not here. I know he hates it, but yeah, freaking love Casino Royale. Awesome flick, and yeah, cool. I'm glad you're digging in. Trackmaster's playing some Modern Warfare. Nice. Flesh and Blood on DVD. Yeah, what else do I have for... I know I got some other Rutger Hauer stuff. I don't know Hobo with the Shotgun yet. I should really pick that up. But, so yeah, we'll look on eBay, and I'm sure there'll be like super rare LaserDisc copies of Blade Runner going for $200 any minute now. Oh yeah, the Hitcher. We were just talking about the Hitcher situation on Blu-ray, how there's only a German steelbook that's transferred from I think it's even a theatrical print. So it's not the best case scenario, and people complained about the colors being a little bit washed out, etc. But as far as I know, it's not slated for any U.S. releases. So, and I think it's region free too. But the Hitcher is great stuff. Blade Runner 2049 on 4K was my first 4K I ever bought, and I didn't even have a player. I don't even know if I had a TV at the time, but I was gonna watch it in 1080p Blu-ray anyways, and I was going to upgrade my this room here, the viewing situation, and I'm like, well, I might as well get it now, and then I'll have some 4K stuff to watch when I do finally get the gear. Nice. LaserDisc Home Theater gives some love to Casino Royale and the Dark Knight trilogy. I don't have those on 4K though, just Blu-ray for the Dark Knight trilogy. Yes, and 2006 Casino Royale. Yeah, I'm not in love with the 67 Casino Royale. I mean, it's kind of interesting, and it's occasionally beautiful and occasionally funny, and the cast and crew rule, but that movie's just tiresome. Hitcher 2 on DVD, damn. But yes. Oh, Melinda just got the LD of what, the Hitcher? Nice. I don't have that on anything but like taped off of a cable. Oh, Paul Moadib dropping F-bombs. I gotta free his weirding module words. Austin's got the Hitcher Blu-ray. I know, right? Yeah, the complaints were the usual Blu-ray.com complaints, like the color timing wasn't just right, or the whites were too blown out, and what else? I don't know. There's always a complaint. So yeah, people are complaining about the Godzilla Criterion Collection set. The diehard cineasts are complaining about Criterion, selling out to the low-hanging, fruit, kind of selling their low-hanging fruit to the losers and the genre film dorks that want to get Godzilla movies. So that they're accusing Criterion of selling out to trash film aficionados when they should be giving it to obscure art house films that need a proper physical release. But I've got absolutely no problem with Criterion dropping a tasty, giant-ass Godzilla box set. So I'm down with the Gojira. Freaky Friday. Wow. Original sauce or new... well, that's not even that new anymore. Jamie Lee Curtis here. Or original recipe, Jodie Foster. IMVD's doing split second. Yeah, I'd be down to pick that up. For sure. I dig those MVD releases. Alright. What else? But yeah, so I'm pro Godzilla box set, as one would imagine. And but these Criterion arguments have been going all the way back to... Well, one, I remember even when they do have an art house film that isn't an art house film that you love, like Salo, people complain about having to buy a title and that they don't enjoy and don't love. So that was always the big griping point for the longest time, because you can't not buy it if it's released from Criterion. And then, of course, The Rock and Armageddon ruffled a ton of feathers. And then, Halloween 2018 on 4K. I just sadly bought the Blu-ray. I cheaped out. I was thinking about getting one of those steel books. So, yes. Alright, Lindsay Lohan version. Freaky Friday. Respect. It's good stuff. And, but yeah, then the big one was when they moved over to DVD. Of course, they also released Armageddon, but the Beastie Boys video. Holy crap, that pissed off people. I remember the home theater forum was boiling because, I did not sign up for the Criterion Collection to get Beastie Boys videos. And everyone's like, well, you could just not buy it. And they're like, well, then I will have a number missing. So, yeah, it's rough. I mean, I guess when your collection angers you that much, it's probably time to take a look at why you're collecting it. But what are you going to do? Yes, somebody was referencing Benjamin Button, too. And also, because that's just total mainstream garbage. It's not worthy of the Criterion moniker, so... Yeah, every once in a while they're like, sell out. You guys went all Metallica load. I should do some gaming streams, except I don't game. It's been years, so probably not going to happen. Yeah, ever since I started doing, expanding my stuff beyond radio and doing more multimedia kind of crap like that, I'm lucky if I get to game like once a year, except for maybe Mappy at work. But yeah, my PlayStation's sad. Yeah, it's a bummer. Let's see what else we got. I used to, when I got sick, fire up some BioShock or something, but it's been a while. It's been a long, long while. My games are all getting dusty, sitting in the corner. 4K Cinema HD, what's in the house? Man, 4K is like buying every LD in the greater New York area. You've been picking up some killer stuff lately. And, like quality titles, so respect. I don't have a laser active. I did see some in person before, but they tend to be pretty pricey, and I'm not super excited to get one that's not recapped already. And then, of course, if somebody's already recapped it, they're probably going to end up charging a little bit more for it. But yeah, someday I'll pick one up. Again, it's a pretty mediocre LaserDisc player, but it's fun just to have it for the curiosity factor and the historical value for sure. But yeah, the packs are pretty pricey, and yeah, I think the one I saw, it didn't even come with the pack that it originally came with. It was just gutted, and I think the guy wanted like $400 for it or something like that. So we shall see. Yeah, if the price is right eventually, maybe I'll get one just to get one. But it is a pretty interesting bit of history. Yeah, man, PS3 all the way. I got an original FAT. That's my boy. I never put it inside an enclosure, so it always had enough air, and it never gave me the light of death. Yeah, pardon my AC's really... This thing's dying, so... I think there's like a dead squirrel in there or something. I'm going to have to get that replaced at some point, so... Pardon the horrible background noise. So anyways, I picked up some stuff this week. I thought I was going to have an LD, but it's not quite in the mail yet. So maybe within a day or two. So I'll have that for next week. But I do have something else 12-inch. I'll give you an LP. So it's better than nothing. I was actually just having lunch at my local deli and had a couple minutes before I had to run back to the office. Stopped into one of my local record stores. It is really cool that I've got, at least, well, in town proper, there's at least 2 used record stores, and within, a short radius, there's even more. So, and then I can go to New Ray Comics if I want new stuff. So, I was psyched. I found a copy of this. It was a little pricey, or more than I usually pay, but an original 1987 pressing. It's got a clip there on the bottom because it was marked down at some point. But Faith No More's Introduce Yourself. I only had this on CD. Yeah, pickups time. And great album. It's the last one with Chuck Mosley before Mike Patton took over. But the tracks on here are good, really good. And same, is it Matt Wallace producing again? So it's got pretty much the same production as the Real Thing, and of course it stylistically matches up with the Real Thing nicely. And yeah, these tunes are great. A lot of great melodies and stuff. Like, it's funny how whenever Mike Patton would sing the old Chuck Mosley era stuff, he always would pick the songs that were my favorites, like As the Worm Turns from We Care a Lot, and Mark Bowen, and on here, And Song is great, Chinese Arithmetic, Introduce Yourself's badass. Yeah, We Care a Lot got redone on this. Crab Song is awesome. Yeah. Plus, it's got that great bit with the performance art bit with Chuck Mosley, like, I'll skate to the beach and I'll look better doing it. Chuck's since passed on, sadly. So rest in peace, Chuck Mosley. They actually did get together with him again, and there's some YouTube videos of them playing with Chuck. But yeah, I mean, he was notorious for having more of vocal stylings than being an outright quality singer. But his melodies on this thing rule, and Mike Patton really picked up on those, and I really appreciate Mike Patton's renditions of these tracks too. Sadly, Slash has not, and Rhino I think was putting out the big 2-disc special edition CDs, and they haven't touched this one, which sucks, because it'd be sweet to have. I don't know if there's any B-sides or anything from this era that haven't been released, but it'd be nice to have like a remastered CD copy and maybe some live stuff or whatever. But yeah, killer release. Didn't have it on vinyl, so had to rectify that. And other music things, I had to get finally the new Tom York release, Anima, and I did watch. Vincent Onorati made me watch the Paul Thomas Anderson short film that was on Netflix, which was okay. It was largely just scenes with Tom York and an actress in a subway car, and then out on the streets, and just lots of bits with repetitious imagery, and it was good. I didn't enjoy it as much as the stuff that came out for A Moon-Shaped Pool that Paul Thomas Anderson did for Radiohead, but it was good. So I had to grab this. Don't love the packaging because, again, it's you know, save the planet biodegradable stuff, but it's, I don't know, it's just cheap, crappy cardboard. Like, I mean, the artwork's fine and everything like that, but it just kind of gets all bent and warped and everything like that. And yeah, I mean, biodegradable is cool and everything like that, but the whole purpose of physical media is to have physical media. So if you're going to go ahead and make something, like, one, those are always my two pet peeves about packaging. Don't make it so obtuse and complicated that you can't get the freaking disc out. Like, as much as I love Clutch, Strange Cousins from the West was, like, impenetrable. And yeah, I don't like the ones where the packaging is so biodegradable to be, like, just a slap in the face for, like, physical media collectors. But, I mean, I do like the orange pops and everything like that, but it's like, alright, next time he's just going to give me a grocery bag, but Fantomas, nice. Yeah, those, my favorite Fantomas album is still, the second one there. The one with movie tracks. Why the hell can I think of it? Final Cut? So Final Cut? Something like that. But, God, or Director's Cut. Thank you. That's it. I don't know why I'm thanking myself for saying that. Yeah, Real Thing's great too. Faith No More Wise. Angel Dust is my all-time favorite Faith No More track, or Faith No More album, and the two that follow. Actually, I love them all. So I even liked their reunion album from a couple of years ago, even though it's a little too short. But Fantasia box set, right? Yeah. Yeah, and that'll be the third thing. Too big to store anywhere. So yeah, I didn't mean to complain all about the Tom York thing. It's pretty good. I've only listened to it a couple times so far, but his solo stuff tends to be a little more like it tends to open up like a flower the more you listen to it and sit with it. And I have a feeling like all the kind of vibes of it are going to be like the Eraser was the same thing. The first time I listened to it, I'm like, yeah, this is pretty cool. And then like a couple weeks later, no, we didn't storm Area 51. That hasn't happened yet, right? We gotta prepare. I gotta get my Naruto stance down so I can properly charge. Yeah, I love Tomahawk. That first Tomahawk album was love that thing. Oh, what was track 4? It's got that progressing chord riff. It's like almost like Kashmir. Dun 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 dun. Damn it! I don't know why I can't think of it. I freaking love that song. Tomahawk's good. Yeah, Mick Gass was good too, and the Oddfellows was good too. And I even like the third one, which is like a little bit of a side kind of bit of self-indulgence where they went into the Native American style, homage. Turntable, I did have some Technics 1200s, but I hooked up my buddy Bill with those. I'm rocking a Music Hall MMF 1.5. It's that newer one they put out about a year ago. Yeah, I think it's the 1.5. It came with... Hey man, I didn't free no aliens. And besides, the aliens aren't there anyways. They're at what was it? Area TS or S4 or whatever. So, or they're in Las Vegas. But yeah, the Music Hall I got has came with a cartridge, but I replaced it with a Ortophone OM Red. I'm probably gonna get a blue. Though my buddy Bill just got a black recently and he loves it, but I don't know if I'm quite ready to go all the way there. But I'll probably upgrade to a blue. Like when it's time to change out my needle on the red, I'll do that. Oh, third Mr. Bungle, California, dude. I've actually got the Disco Volante on vinyl when it came with a little 7-inch bonus disc with the secret song, and yeah, that was great. Love that one too. But yeah, California is untouchable. I actually wrote like a movie in my head based on the music from that called Fontaine Rouge, and I never did finish writing the script for it, but yeah, someday I'll do it. Freddie in the house. What's up, my friend? Sending some love over the drama way. I'm just dying to get some final mixes. I've got about half the new album back from the mixing board, and it sounds awesome. But I'm dying to actually get that product out there. Some more on that soon. Oh yeah, Moiki. Yeah, we did talk you into getting the USB 1 music hall. Yeah, I love mine too. So I'm going to, and it has a built-in phono preamp too, which is normally not a big deal. But I moved my Rotel receiver with the built-in phono preamp upstairs here, and my newer Rotel processor doesn't have anything. So I'm using the one that's in the music hall right now. It's not too bad. I was gonna get a shit Monty, but I think I might step up even beyond that. Yeah, we'll see. Maybe get a lounge or something like that. But it's cool. I like how plug and play it is. Like, you can set it up and then you can keep adding on, and so I'll get a new preamp eventually, and it's going to sound even better. And I already upgraded to the OM Red. Sounds great. And yeah, I'm a big fan of the whole just built-in phono preamp. And yeah, if you want to, and it's got a little switch, so if you want to go external, you can. Yeah, exactly. And yeah, it sounds fine. Like, I don't feel like I'm missing out on a lot. So it's not one of those cases where I'm like, damn, I can't wait to upgrade. But like, if I ever do, it'll be like a sweet little, oh, this sounds even better now. But yeah, it sounds great. It sounds fantastic. So yeah, that's what I've been rocking. I need to get something for up here. I've got one of those Pangea stands, and it's all good to go. Oh yeah, 2M red. Thank you. Not OM. It's 2M. So yeah, I got a 2M red. I'm gonna get a 2M blue next. So I like the red though. It's cheap. It sounds great. Thanks, Reddy. I will definitely let you know, hook you up with some jams when they're ready for consumption. But yeah, they're sounding pretty killer. The one that's like mastered sounds beefy. Yeah, and this alien, he's not from Area 51. He came separately. But yeah, so I'll probably grab another. The thing getting turntables is everyone always bitches online about the new turntables. Like, oh, don't bother with those because you can get amazing, older 80s ones. The 80s ones are where it's at, or 70s and 80s ones. But then everyone wants an arm and a leg for their old crappy, neglected turntable online. And the prices, ever since the vinyl boom started kicking back up again, the prices aren't that hot. And again, like, you don't know how much repair is needed. So everyone's like, well, don't buy new because you can get a so much better player. It's like, well, can you though? And if you get it from somebody that has been maintaining it and and keeping it properly set up and everything like that, he's going to want the money for it. So a lot of times, I just rather drop some coin and get a new player like the MMF, and dropped it out of the box and onto a stand, got all leveled and ready to go, man. It was good to go, and I didn't have to worry about what was broken on it. Like, it's fun if you're a hobbyist and you're into doing repairs and stuff like that, definitely. But if you're not like a turntable repair artist, I don't know. It's a mixed bag. I mean, so yeah, there are a lot of great old vintage turntables out there, but yeah, the deals don't seem to be coming fast and furious anymore. So, I mean, and for the ones, every model that you see, if you like search it up on any of those vinyl groups, everybody just talks crap about it. So everyone says, no, I wouldn't pay more than $20 for it. So I don't know where these amazing players are that are supposed to be super cheap, because everybody poo-poos every single player I ever look up that I find on, like Marketplace or Craigslist or something like that. So, yeah, LaserDisc, you got a MoFi turntable, that's right. I take it you like yours, because I haven't heard you complain about it, that's for sure. Yes, we were doing a little bit of a Rutger Hauer talk before. Pete's in the house. Yep. Saying about how everybody's going to be watching Blade Runner for at least 5 days. But, yeah, the late, great Rutger Hauer, and we were talking about some Hitcher action, the German steelbook, or it's a media book. Sorry, not a steelbook. And what else is going on? Other pickups. I went back to Barnes & Noble. and grab some more Criterion Blu-rays because the sale's still going on. So the first thing I got, it's funny, all these except for the last one I was looking for the last time I went there, and they were all back in stock this time, so it was great. I mean, I could buy them online, but I thought I read somewhere that you don't automatically get your 10% off if you're a Barnes & Noble member if you buy them online. So yeah, so I get them for half off and then another 10% off the half off amount on top of that. So, and I just like going to stores. Like I don't like, I'd like to buy things online because I have to, but like I'd rather be able to go to a store and hang out and browse. I saw Daisuke. Shout out to Daisuke Beppu. I just saw his video talking about how he was in Hawaii and he went to Barnes & Noble and same thing. He said it was an exciting moment for him to actually get to walk through the store and browse and hang out with other people that were into Criterion. There's this very nice lady that works at the register in the video section, and it's a very different vibe than years past when nobody even on the staff seemed to know about the Criterion. They seem to be realizing more and more like how well received this sale is from the general Blu-ray collecting public. So yeah, she's like really into it, and it's like, oh look, we got a new box if you want to look through what's in there. And it's more of an event now, and everybody seems really excited about it, and they definitely advertise a little bit better. But yeah, Barnes & Noble, it's funny because Barnes & Noble has never been a store with great prices on things, but they've been having some fantastic sales. In fact, I got yeah, there you go. Again, the packaging is so awesome, you just pick it up and the disc flies out. Hold on, let me go retrieve this. But yeah, I picked up the Tom York there because the sale on CD, there was like a sale on CDs for like 30% off too when I was there. And they've been running some like quieter sales on Arrow videos recently too, which still might be going on. Yeah, your results may vary, but anyways, what's going on? But yes, I got David Lynch, The Art Life. And yes, it was fun to be able to actually go browse. And that's what I figured. If it was something I wanted, I'm going to go back a couple times before the sale's over. And then if it's something I want isn't there by the time I get there for the last week, then I'll just do a last minute order on the website and get it that way. This one's pretty cheap anyways. So it was, I don't know, like $13, $13.50, something like that. But it's a documentary about David Lynch's artwork. So it's not, a David Lynch film or anything like that, but it's 88 minutes, so it's still feature length. But I've been meaning to pick this up for a while. And I believe this gets me caught up with the Lynchian releases on Criterion. So, Beta Xenon Z-Cats and going on. We mostly talked about the big news of Criterion 1000 being the Godzilla box set, and a little bit of respect thrown Rutger Hauer's way. And what else are we talking about? We didn't even get to talk about like all the new trailers and all that fun stuff, but I did finally watch the Top Gun trailer, which looks pretty balls. And watched the Zombieland trailer today, and a few other things. And then, yeah. Anyway, so yeah, we're just doing some pickups. I got Faith No More vinyl, and Tom York CD, and that David Lynch Blu-ray. And that's about it so far for pickups. The next one I wanted to get was a replacement for my old MGM DVD Scanners, classic vintage Cronenberg. This is one of those flicks I was acutely aware of when it came out, but was just like a little too young to be able to go see in the theater. And just haunted by whatever imagery I could catch from either Fangoria or Starlog magazine, and was just, it was a little bit of forbidden fruit, so I was excited to pick this up. And nice digibook, some funky pop art going on there. And just the disc inside, and comes with a booklet with more fancy artwork, and a little bit of a write-up by Kim Newman. So, pretty cool stuff. I do appreciate that they give you all the transfer information in there too. More peeps should do that. So what's this got? Restored 2K digital transfer, 2014 documentary about the film's special effects, interview with Michael Ironside from 2014, a 2012 interview with actor Stephen Lack, and 1981 interview from the Bob McLean Show, and Stereo from 1969, Cronenberg's first feature film, restored 2K digital transfer. So remember that and Crimes of the Future are always like packaged together on imports, but pretty cool. And trailer and radio spots. So been meaning to pick that up for a while. Glad I got that. And if you're gonna have scanners, you gotta have Videodrome. And I had the DVD, and foolishly I sold it. So this retains the same packaging with the faux cassette layout. So it's a great release. Criterion booklets are excellent bathroom reading material. Oh yeah, Canada, $45 for the they're pretty expensive naturally here. When even when Criterion has their own sales, like they'll hit you with the shipping or something. So the Barnes and Noble ones, they're a godsend. But yeah, I love the cassette artwork here in the clear case, and this one's got a even thicker booklet. I don't have the Criterion Online. I thought about getting it, but I know our buddy Vincent has it. He loves it. Ball had that Videodrome sets, had it, sold it, regret it. Exactly. So I don't want to regret it anymore. I'm definitely not someone who sells my stuff. I'm not one of those guys that gets a bunch of stuff and goes and drops it all off somewhere because I want to buy, like, I don't know, a new scooter or something, and then I go buy it all back. And that's not normally my thing. Yeah, I had to be in pretty dire straits to sell off a bunch of my collection before. So, I'd gotten fired like the rest of the world did in 2009, and needed to pay some bills. So that forced my hand, unfortunately. So definitely never intended to sell any of the stuff, because I never really buy anything with the intent to sell it, because I'm collecting it. So cool stuff. What else we got in here? This one's got, Patrick McGowan's The Man. Love The Prisoner. Got that on Blu-ray. It's got digital transfer, the unrated version. No bonus stuff from like the TV cut or anything on here. I don't believe. Digital transfer, 2 audio commentaries, and it's got camera from 2000 short film, a half-hour documentary, Forging the New Flesh, about the makeup effects, interview with Rick Baker, bootleg video, the complete footage of Samurai Dreams, and 7 minutes of other transmissions from Videodrome, unedited with filmmaker commentary. Badass. And Fear on Film, a roundtable from 1982 with Cronenberg and John Carpenter, John Landis, and Mick Garris, who always shows up in those kind of things. Yes, the head exploding is a classic cinema moment. Yeah, Videodrome is my favorite Cronenberg. But yeah, History of Violence is badass. The Fly. Yeah. Crash, I just heard there's going to be a new release of Crash coming out too, and I believe a 4K, so excited about that. And I didn't pick this up the last time, just because I was trying to focus on Cronenberg and Lynch stuff, and because I finally picked up all the Lynch stuff, I figured I'd celebrate and grab Jackie Chan Police Story 1 and 2. And I was critical of Criterion back in the day. For people complain about Criterion stuff like releasing Godzilla, but my complaint was that they released Super Cop, but the Dimension US version, which I never bought. So for all I know, maybe they included some original Cantonese dialogue on an alternate track, but as far as I know, it was just the Dimension dubbed version. Which, I mean, at least Dimension got Jackie Chan to dub his own voice. And these things are shot without sound anyway, so it's all just poor ADR. But I gotta love James Woods doing it with the TV. But I had to get these. These movies eluded me for the longest time. Jackie's got such a deep filmography, and my collection like jumped from like probably like Young Master and Drunken Master to Armor of God, and I missed a lot of stuff. And I had like Wheels on Meals and what else? My Lucky Stars and City Hunter and a few, but I never had the Police Story flicks. And of course, I'd always seen the first movie referenced. It's got some. It doesn't have a booklet, which is amazing, but as I found out, it makes up for it in special features. Killer artwork inside. Very impactful. But yeah, I had seen clips of the first film. And it's just got the 2 discs there and a little artistic replica of the... I think it's the poster trying to get awareness for the Hong Kong police. And it's got a little bit of a write-up in here from Nick Pinkerton. But yeah, so pretty cool stuff. But yeah, I had seen the clips of the Shantytown massacre in the beginning there. And yeah, great stuff. I'll be doing a proper video on this sucker at some point. So I let's see. Mitsubishi starring. I'm trying to remember. I know he goes crazy with the Mitsubishi in Armor of God. That's the one where he's driving it down like, you know, flights of stairs and doing all sorts of crazy shit with it. And it's I think that one was like white, and yeah, I think that might be the one you're thinking of. And what else we got in here? Tons of extra features, 4K digital. It's amazing watching these old Golden Harvest flicks look this good, because I'm used to seeing either laser discs of, you know, bad film, you know, theatrical prints, or VHS dubs of laser discs of bad theatrical prints from Hong Kong with the English subtitles burned in, and of course if there's anything white going on in the background, it just blows it all out so you can't read it. So it was amazing seeing this stuff look this good. But yeah, it's got, I listen to the mono ones, but it does have 5.1 tracks in DTS HD master audio, English dub alternate tracks, and it does have an alternate version of Police Story 2 in 2K, or from a 2K transfer from a subtitled 35mm Hong Kong release print. Lots of stuff with Edgar Wright and a podcast he did with Jackie Chan, and then a ton of featurettes. Lots of stuff with New York Asian Film Festival co-founder Grady Hendrix, and the 1989 Son of the Incredibly Strange Film Show episode with Jonathan Ross, which is cool. The excerpts from Jackie Chan's My Stunts, which is still like an hour worth of that documentary, which is cool. And then 2017 TV program where he was like, yeah, they kind of took him out on stage, and it was like a This Is Your Life thing where they reunited them with the old members of the Jackie Chan stunt team. Old TV program talking about the Beijing Opera and the training, and all sorts of cool stuff on here. Yeah, so if you're a Jackie fan, pick this up. So it definitely makes up for Criterion releasing the Dimension version of Super Cop. I'm going to put that away properly later. So that's about it for pickups. That yeah, I didn't get any LDs, but I do have some LD goodness coming for next week. I promise. So look forward to that. What did I miss? Super Cop LD had the alternate audio, but it was still the shorter version, so they still get the finger for that. Good times. Let's see. Italian restoration company that did the film added teal into it, and Criterion was not. Of which one? I take it it's one of the ones that were in the stack. We'll find out later. All right. Oh no! I got the Ouroboros. Catch your own tail, snake. Let's see. How we doing? Looks like we're doing okay. What's my favorite COD level? I think we talked about this before. It's either COD 4. It's either the I don't know if it's favorite, but the finale, saving the president on the airplane, but no, it's definitely the Pripyat mission. Or that was like a couple levels, but The one where you're like holed up at the Pripyat Ferris wheel. Favorite Jackie Chan flick is Drunken Master 2. Oh, Police Story 1. All right. Well, in that case, yeah, I'm definitely not. I mean, pretty much every HK flick I've had looked like it had its celluloid rubbed on someone's ass hard, like Sammo Hung's ass had been the storage facility for everyone. So, I mean, yeah. I mean, this, teal or not, is about 15 million% better than I ever expected to see Police Story. So, I have no expectations of visual quality really with any HK flicks. So, I hate to be a part of the problem, but I'll take what I can get because I'm just used to, like I said, watching bootlegs or LDs that look like boiled butt. So, I have failed. I'm sorry I gave you a real answer, Mikey. But there it is. You got it. But yeah, I don't know. I thought it looked amazing. So, but then yeah, I don't know. I haven't seen a film print properly or anything to that effect. But I'm down. But yeah, Drunken Master 2 is my favorite. How did it look in the theater? I don't know. I didn't see it in the theater. Yeah, Hardboiled is like, I love Hardboiled, but I don't care if it looks any better than my Criterion LaserDisc with all the dropouts and all that stuff. So, I mean, I'd totally be down with an arrow release or something like that. Oh, Wiki throwing some Teaser Laser Discotheque payment. That's right, you got to pay those back taxes, buddy. Yep. Keep it coming. Thank you, my friend. But yes, so if they, what the hell? Wiki gives money and then we just disappear. It's all the dropouts. Oh, the sound in the theater was amazing, especially the mono. Yeah, I've sadly not gotten to see a lot of great like classic Jackie stuff in the theater. I saw some of the Dimension, reissues when they came over here. First Strike I saw like a couple times in the theater. Yeah, Laser Discotheque. We tried to do a live video. Didn't work because we couldn't do it. But yes, there's talk. There's talk of doing something. So yeah, hold tight. And we've had some delightful Laser Discotheque chats and in secret chat rooms. So if we could just hire somebody to... oh yeah, Punk Nerd. Yeah, send me some PM action. We'll talk for sure. But yeah, we've had some. We need to get like Liam Neeson or someone cool, Morgan Freeman, to like read our secret chats, and then we'll just release that as a Laser Discotheque. But yeah, something will happen. Reunion special, exactly. Something to that effect. We tried to get something video going, but it just wasn't technically feasible at the moment. But tell us about some of my favorite film-related books, huh? All right, before I start talking about Mystery Men. It's tough because they're all in the other room. But Paul Salmon's Future Noir, of course, got to have that. Dan Allier's book about Vertigo. Was it Round Up the Usual Suspects about the making of Casablanca? That's a great one. Though a little like unfocused at times. I got a couple good Gone with the Wind books. I guess the Vivian Lee biography counts as a film book. What else? Oh, one of my favorite is the Satanic Screen, I think is the name of it. I think it's a British book, but it's all about satanic movies and like over the years, and it breaks it down by decade and talks about what are the great ones and what are the hokey ones and what are like the truly like satanic ones and all that stuff. Love that book. That's the coolest stuff. And then I used to go out and buy all the the books about, well, like back in the 90s, like film books were great, and there was a ton of them, and you can go into Borders Books and Music, and there was like a good like 2.5 like full sections on film books. Like there would be like the film theory books, and then there would be the ones about particular directors. And so I bought all of those like Quentin Tarantino books they put out like after Pulp Fiction had come out, which was hilariously like early in the game. And I also picked up there was a David Fincher book too that Like maybe Panic Room had come out, but it's like think of like the David Fincher stuff that came out after that. That's like seminal. So it's pretty funny. So yeah, everybody was cashing on the Tarantino thing. So I think I got one from like Janet Maslin, and there was a British one import that sucked. It was so horrible and like full of errors and stuff like that. Yeah, great stuff. What else? I know I got some other cool like film books that I love. Damn. Mike also enjoying some Paul Salmon action. Yeah, Future Noirs. That's up there. And I know there's some other like ridiculously obvious ones I'm missing out on, but I used to love reading Cronenberg on Cronenberg too, which is just a bunch of interviews and stuff. But it was super inspirational. Just how he was able to, use and abuse the Canadian film funding, benefits, and made all these crazy personal and strange movies out of it. Oh, Austin got to your Endgame in Atmos. Proper. I don't have any proper Atmos screening houses near me, sadly. Paul Mendeeb's heading out. Peace, my friend. Try not to make any rhythms. It'll attract the worms. Yeah, director biographies. That's some good stuff. I love John Glenn's. That was pretty cool. Talking about not just doing the James Bond stuff, but beyond that. There was James Cameron one I had, but that one was back. When was that around? I know he hadn't done Avatar at the time. It's probably around Titanic period. That was a pretty cool one. That was like really inspirational too. And then of course I read Skywalking tons of times as a kid. That was probably my first like director biography I had. Yeah, 70s films. There's a couple great ones. There's the one that they made the documentary on TV about, but I've got was it The Stewardesses on the The Stewardess is on the Wing or whatever like that, about 70s like disaster and action movies. That's great. And there's a couple good ones out there. And of course I got Hollywood Babylon. You got to have a copy of Hollywood Babylon kicking around somewhere. And yeah, I never did read the Blade Runner, the books. I almost bought them when they came out, but I was on the fence, and I was worried about them being a disappointment. And then I read the kind of lukewarm reviews, and then so I didn't buy them when I really should have. And I remember some people like saying they were hoping that would get turned into an actual film sequel, but I never did. I never did pick them up. And yeah, all the Kubrick ones, the 2001, the Making of 2001 book, classic. Oh, sorry, I'll say more Sony Muses next time. LaserDisc Film Theater, Sony Muse. Dr. Sleep, I still haven't read yet. My wife's got that because she was part of the Stephen King book club, but they started sending the books so late, like well after the release date. When it used to be the reverse, you'd get them early, and they used to have like custom like leather bound editions, smelled of rich mahogany. Free Eyes Only. That's the John Glenn one. That's a good one. Yeah, Easy Rider Raging Bulls. Thank you. That's exactly the one I was talking about. But yeah, eventually they just started sending the regular production one that you can get at Barnes & Noble for the Stephen King books. And, I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, the original Blade Runner lukewarm reviews that came out too. Yeah, but I don't know, just sequel tie-in books. Like, I don't know, something about that really made me twitch. Muse. So I was on the fence too much, apparently. Art books and classic music. Art books wise, I haven't been picking up a lot, like some of the greater ones out there. They're usually a little bit expensive, so. I mean, I did get the Art of Blade Runner 2049, speaking of modern classics recently. But I used to pick up the original art book releases for the Star Wars films when they were coming out. Convoy is badass, man. Got that badass duck on his truck Tarantino used. But yeah, I'm trying to think of it. I must have some killer art books kicking around. Hellbound Heart, yes. That was hard to find for the longest time. I had like every other Clive Barker book, but in the States they didn't do like a proper like paperback repressing of that, or maybe the first U.S. pressing in paperback until late 80s, early 90s at some point. And it's pretty thin because it's a short story. But yeah, I picked that up, and yeah, love that. And I did read Scarlet Gospels as well too, which is totally a different vibe. And the Scarlet Gospels kind of is more in the vein of the Harry D'Amour stories than it is in the the Hellraiser stuff, but definitely some interesting things going on in there for sure. So yeah, I'll check out the Dr. Sleep flick, but I'll have to read the book. Yeah, man, I saw Blade Runner in its original release and was into it. And am I into manga like Alita? No, it's not that I'm not into it, but I just haven't bottled enough. So I used to just steal my friends' copies of stuff back in the day. Like, yeah, what else? What did we read? All sorts of stuff back in the day. Pretty much just all the big, the big guns, Ghost in the Shells, and all that stuff. But I don't own the Akira manga, which is a crime. So I should really pick some of that stuff up someday. I did see Alita. It was good. It was very kind of scattershot. It was like a mini series rolled into one movie. But it was good. I was kind of, speaking of on the fence, I was on the fence about the whole concept of the photorealistic giant anime eyes, but it actually played rather well when I saw it in IMAX, and I was impressed. But yeah, if I had any complaint, it was just that it didn't stay on any one plot point for too long. It was just like, I'm gonna play this sport. Yeah, I'm over that. I'm gonna be a bounty hunter. Yeah, I'm over that. I'm gonna do this. I mean, it really was like a bunch of different stories or movies just kind of crammed into one. So like any one section didn't quite get enough screen time. That was my only kind of gripe, but it was fun though. I'm definitely gonna pick it up. I'm gonna grab a copy. Go to Best Buy or something and grab a copy soon. Yeah, Ralph McQuarrie's artwork is Star Wars killer stuff. Yeah, I got all those original art books. Yep, I remember Siskel and Ebert pissing on Blade Runner. Yeah, later on they liked it. But yeah, me and my dad went to go see it. We used to, read Starlog and Cine Fantastique. It's his birthday, by the way. Happy birthday. We used to read that stuff, devotedly. And Blade Runner was like, absolutely, we were going to go see it regardless. Yeah, the Dune art book. I would love to see the Jodorowsky Dune, the book. Yeah, Scarlet Gospels does. Yeah, feels more like a Lord of Illusions too, right? It's pretty cool. I mean, the stuff with like Harry D'Amour and his crew kind of going on in the adventure through hell was kind of fun. Like, yeah, if I had any complaint about it, it wasn't very scary. It was just more kind of fascinating and more of an adventure than anything. But then again, it was pretty cool. I've not heard about the Army fan base for Alita. You have to tell me about this. Dune books, it's funny. I have them all, and I've read Dune proper countless times, but I would always stall out during Dune Messiah. And I've always picked it up and reread it. So yeah, I had at least the first 5 or 6. I got for Christmas one year, like Dune Messiah and Children of Dune on paperback in early 80s or something. I would reread Dune all the time. But yeah, Dune Messiah for some reason I kept pooping out on. Good to hear on the Alita manga. I'll have to check that out. So one of these days I'm going to power through them. I also have the Killer Dune. I wish I had it in here. Encyclopedia, which was that was another early 80s one. Killer book. Love that thing. And what else is going on? And yes, I'm super excited for the Denis Villeneuve Dune. Yeah, I'm down with all the Blade Runner work cuts too. I mean, I'll talk trash about the narration version, because why not? But I'll still watch it in a heartbeat. And yeah, the work print is tied with a little bit of nostalgia because I used to hear so much about it, and it was like that. They'd have screenings of it in Los Angeles when I wasn't living in Los Angeles at the time, so it was like one of those things that that forbidden fruit. Yeah, I'm down to watch some Picard. I don't have CBS All Access, so I'll probably be picking it up on the backside. on Blu-ray. I still haven't seen Discovery yet, though my dad's got the Blu-rays, so maybe I'll borrow those from him. Happy birthday, Dad! Let me borrow your Blu-rays. I've heard people go back and forth on that, but I'm down with more Jean-Luc, man. Yeah, whatever. He could just sit there and drink Earl Grey tea and read the newspaper, and I'm cool with that. Yeah, I've been meaning I haven't watched Next Gen in quite some time. It's so funny, like it still feels kind of new to me, and like every time I run into it now, I realize, holy crap! Not only am I old, but the show's old. Yeah, Ford's narration, he sounds so pissed off, right? Oh yeah, Lolita was the I forgot about that. That was the alternative female film. I remember that for a hot minute when that came out. Yeah, I too went to one of those screenings of Captain Marvel that the entire audience was bought by Disney and nobody showed up, except it was the exact opposite. It was Full House. I'm sure they were all robots that Disney sent, animatronics. They all looked like Lincoln for some reason. Weird. Yeah, the original version with the voiceovers, and yeah, the tacked on, Shining footage at the end and all that stuff is like, yeah, it's not my favorite version. But like I said, I'll put on that Criterion LaserDisc in a hot minute. Could I please do a Hopper impression? I know I really got to do some proper Hopper impressions. It was it for coffee and contemplation. I protect, I provide, and I teach. Yeah, I'll do some proper hoppers soon. Start doing some, get my impression going. Thankfully, I made it back from the Upside Down, right at the Rock. I protect, I provide, and I teach. Yeah, I'm going to try and get all pissed off and riled up more often. Alright, yep, see more mixed things on Discovery, so. Yeah, like, I appreciate the noirish, like, I don't know, the goal of the narration. Like the concept of it I like, but the execution, but I won't turn it off. Yeah, the work print is weird, and it's crazy just seeing those alternate titles and everything, and it's such a trip, man. Yeah, it's some strange stuff, and I remember seeing the like still images of that in a Video Watchdog magazine, and anytime I get to like finally see stuff that I would read about for years, I got it. So yeah, Pete not digging the Discovery. So there we go, all over the map. But yeah, so since it's 10 o'clock, I figure I'll get into the movie of the week. I don't know if anybody watched it, but it was something that seemed to be in the air. All of a sudden, people were talking about it last week, and then my wife was like, "Why don't you do Mystery Men?" And I'm like, "Mystery Men, this." Yeah. So I was like, "All right, cool. I'll give it a shot." I haven't seen this in probably a year or two, so it was worth picking up. I do not own the LaserDisc, sadly, so I just have this one lone DVD. It did get dropped on Blu-ray in maybe 2012 or so, and I heard some, middling reviews on the picture quality, so I figured I'd just hold on to the DVD for now until, Arrow or Scream Factory or somebody inevitably gets a hold of it and does like a proper kick-ass version of it. But yes. Oh, Elvin's in the house. Yeah, we were doing a big major Godzilla chat up before and talking about the whole controversy of Criterion fans being angered that it wasn't an obscure art house film that needs a physical release. Austin has never seen Mystery Man. Alright, so sorry if about the spoilers I'm going to drop. Actually, there's nothing too spoilery. Was Deckard a replicant? Well, in the eyes of Ridley Scott, yes, he was. So, but it's one of those things that's still up to you, the viewer. Yeah, Mystery Man. Did you see? You've seen that, Moikey? Or is that the one where you said you didn't quite like it? I don't know. I'll see it in a little bit. But yeah, it came out in 1999. I saw it in the cinemas twice, actually. The jokes of the Mystery Men fall flat, or do they? Because you don't like dad jokes, do you? So a lot of the jokes of Mystery Men really succeed for me. I can see where they would fall flat for some people, but I love them. But yeah, I saw it in the cinemas with the buddy I do my radio show with currently on Sunday nights, and he was a fan of Flaming Carrot. I'd never read Flaming Carrot, and that was definitely a hot title among like the hardcore comics readers that I knew. If you hung out in the comic shop, the hardcore guys there that knew what was what. They all collected Flaming Carrot, and yeah, it was like one of those ones that was always on my radar, like Cerebus and things like that. And I did end up reading some Cerebus stuff, but I never did pick up Flaming Carrot. Maybe like an issue, like here and there. But yeah, Bob Burden did that, and it became a filmic entity. He had this character, the Flaming Carrot. It was just about this guy who read like every comic book known to man and went out and fought crime. And the Mystery Men didn't work their way into the comics until a little bit later, and they were a superhero team that were largely wannabes and losers, and also rans, and a very strange concept for something to get greenlit for a Hollywood, a big Universal release. So I was surprised. Flaming Carrot was, enough on people's radar that I think I remember reading Cinescape magazine. I don't know if you guys remember that, but it used to always have a running list of things that were greenlit. And there was also, I don't know if it was the CBG, the Comics Buyer's Guide, or there was another comics publication that used to always have like a list of comic book titles that were being optioned or in production. But yeah, I used to always read Cinescape. So it seemed strange that not the main character, but like these kind of side characters would get greenlit. But they did, and so the guy I went to go see it with the first time, he was a fan of the comic, so he was primed and ready and kind of knew what he was getting into. And it's a little bit of a oddity because it's from a director named Kinka Usher, who came out of commercials. So in a way, he was primed and ready to be the next David Fincher. And then he did this film and went back to commercials, and he did not become the next David Fincher. And he had a very, very vibrant vision for the film, and went swinging for the fences with crazy camera angles, kind of like a mix of Tim Burton and Sam Raimi. So it's a film, it's not super wide, it's 1.85 to 1, so it's just like big and lots of extreme close-ups and super wide angle lenses. So there's a lot of Terry Gilliam at play in there too, visually, and he was prone to breaking traditional camera setup rules, and would have characters looking directly in to the camera instead of at the angle, and then he would cut to two characters looking directly in. So definitely kind of mixing things up and just swinging for the fences. But yeah, I didn't know quite what to make of it. I knew it was going to be a comedy, and I'd seen some other superhero comedy films. Blank Man had come out at this time, but this kind of set the way for, can't really say the specials, because the specials came out hot on the heels of this, so that was already probably in the works by the time this came out. But it didn't connect with audiences, but its tone was closer to something like Kick-Ass or the Guardians of the Galaxy. So you could say it was ahead of its time, because the tone of this movie probably would have played better about 10 years later. But when it came out, it was a big year, a lot of good stuff coming out, 99, so it just kind of got lost in the shuffle. But yeah, I saw it once in the multiplexes at Showcase Cinema, and then I went again with my family to go see it at the local art house theater. And yes, Smash Mouth famously did All Star. Like, not only was All Star not a Shrek song like originally, it was a Mystery Men song, and they even had like the Mystery Men cast in the video for it. So it was like a big deal. Like, that was the song of the film. And the I think Stephen Warbeck did the score with like a little bit of extra help. At the end, I think they tacked on some extra score action to help out a little bit. But it's got a pretty upbeat, vibrant score. There's a little bit of bonus Mark Mothersbaugh action too from Devo, and he's in the film in the opening scene. But yeah, it just didn't connect with anybody. But yeah, it's got, except for nerds, I guess, like myself. But yeah, it's got some other interesting things on the soundtrack. But for the most part, and of course Kel Mitchell's in it, so he's got like a rap on there. And everybody's still fighting about Star Trek. Anyway. But yeah, Mystery Men, is the tale of, it begins with a trio of these characters. Mr. Furious, played by Ben Stiller, and Hank Azaria is the Blue Raja, and the Shoveler, played by William H. Macy. And they are living in a place called Champion City that is... It got a lot of flack for being too reminiscent of the Joel Schumacher Batman films, but while it's like very vibrant and colorful, like, I don't know, it kind of felt closer to Anton Furst's, Tim Burton Batman, just like a more colorful version of that. The production design is killer. It's really, really good and in depth, and those wide angle lenses give you a lot of distance. And I think it was Kirk Petruccelli did the production design. Really good stuff between him and Marilyn Vance's costume design. It's got a lot going for it for a lowish budget production. But still Universal Picture, and strangely Universal was okay with Kinka Usher doing some reshoots and adding some things to it. This is like traditionally the kind of film that Universal would take away from someone when it was starting to not pan out to be what they thought it would be, and cut it to shreds and release a 65-minute version against the director's wishes. But yeah, Champion City is just, it's like a mix of, it's very Detroit-esque crossbred with Hong Kong. There's a lot of water, and there's a badass tavern, or a diner called the Lakeside Diner that everybody hangs out in. I love it. Yeah, it's not as bright as Dick Tracy either, but it's got some of Ridleyville from Blade Runner in its DNA too, like in the way that the signage of the city and the details just really come to life. So yeah, I think the production design is actually better than the really garish Dick Tracy and then Joel Schumacher Batman stuff. But yeah, Champion City is a strange place. It's almost a science fiction film, even though it's taking place in 1999. It's referencing disco from 79 being a thing. There's a character that goes away in 79 and gets released in 99 and is still into disco. So yeah, it's strange. So it's a contemporary film, but it's from an alternate universe essentially, in which the crime is relatively gone at the start of the film because of Captain Amazing, this very, very vain, self-absorbed superhero. It's everyone loves messing with the Superman archetype and doing, what if Superman, like recently Brightburn, like what if Superman was a creepy serial killer, and this time it's like, what if Superman was just a self-absorbed egotistic maniac, and he sells his space on his suit like NASCAR style to sponsors. There's a joke early on where he loses his Pepsi sponsorship. But yeah, so he's the status quo, and there's really no need for superheroes in this world because he's put everyone behind bars or into an insane asylum. But there's this group of wannabes that are still going out looking to save the day, even though nobody's asking them to, and especially their friends and family aren't asking them to, but they're kind of legends in their own mind. And it opens with an assault from Artie Lang playing Big Red, the leader of the Red Eyes, these guys who just have big goggles that glow red, as they attack an old folks community home. Everyone's hanging out, including Tom Waits, who plays Heller, this amazing doctor who rents chickens, does aromatherapy, but also creates non-lethal weaponry and is a master of knowledge about such things. And some of the dialogue in the film just crushes. James Gunn, between the specials and Super, for sure, there's a lot of mystery men in those films. So even though Super was a 2000 film, but if you like Mystery Men, you'll definitely like Super. The specials, sorry. And if you like Mystery Men, you might like Super as well, even though that gets a little darker. Even though it's got a lot of comedic stuff, but Bolte in that isn't a far throw from the bowler in this film. But yeah, it's about these three guys, and they're not appreciated, but they still keep on doing what they're doing, and they're not smart enough to realize that they should just kind of get on with their lives. Sadly, the theatrical cut out most of their day job stuff. Mr. Furious works at a junkyard, with a great boss who's just a cantankerous old woman who always tells him to junk it, and he hates her. And his gimmick is his power is that he's a ball of fury, that he gets so angry that's about it. That's as far as his power goes. It doesn't actually give him any benefit or any edge in battle. He just gets really angry, and you question as a viewer whether or not he really does get angry, or if that's just all a bogus kind of front. So that's his useless superpower. And the Blue Raja is Hank Azaria playing an effete British man living in India during British rule, and he specializes in throwing cutlery, but specifically forks and spoons, and specializes particularly in forks beyond that. And he doesn't like throwing knives because it's too dangerous. And who wants to throw knives? He's not Stabman. And even though he, in his day job in the deleted scenes, he works hustling cutlery at a bridal shop, he wears all blue there. In his Blue Raja suit proper, it's mostly greens and yellows, and everybody busts his balls because there's nothing blue about it. So he's just all these weird kind of, he's just like randomness personified. And of course he puts on a faux British accent. And there's some great scenes with his mother, played by Louise Lasser, who's it's a play on the mom who's concerned about his son, who doesn't have any girlfriends and that sort of thing. And but yeah, so there's a little bit of a twist on that. And of course, William H. Macy is amazing as the shoveler. He's got a family that loves him, but they're tired of his superhero shenanigans, and they like to make fun of him. And he works during the day actually shoveling. There's a tunnel that he works shoveling in. Again, that got relegated to deleted scenes, but at night these guys spend too much time hanging out late and just wasting their time saving the world. And my favorite thing about it is really it's like a local band movie disguised as a superhero movie. They're that local band that isn't breaking through, and there's the big band in town that's Captain Amazing, and they're just kind of, nobody's asking them to play, but they keep on playing. And just the concept of, because that's what you do when you're in a band, is when you're not, the most important part isn't really on being on stage, it's going to the diner after. So there's a certain joy I get from the diner scenes of these guys hanging out, and the camaraderie they share even when they're bickering at the diner. And again, the coolness of the production design and the staging. Kinko Usher actually is in the film as like a manager, or a counter waiter at the diner. Knows how to use the space. So even though there's a good 3 or 4 scenes set in this diner, the guys aren't always in the same booth. That's always the easy way out of shows like, obviously Friends, where they joke about it, or How I Met Your Mother, that whenever you're in this location, they're at the same spot. And it's like, yes, as a guy that frequents diners, I'm not always sitting in the same booth. So I thought it was cool that they actually explored the space, and that every time they're sitting somewhere else. Oh, David Vandal in the house. What's up, my friend? So yeah, they make the most of what they have. And Claire Filani is in there as a waitress that Mr. Furious seems to have taken a liking to, and I definitely did not have a thing for Claire Filani, so I will definitely deny that if that ever comes up publicly. So that was not a part of the reason I enjoyed the film, and I will deny that again. So yeah, quickly after the film's kind of introduction of everybody, you learn that Captain Amazing is one, he's a jerk, because you see him pushing old people in wheelchairs out of his way, and little kids looking for his autograph, and he's just yelling at Ricky Jay from everything, Paul Thomas Anderson flicks, and Tomorrow Never Dies, of course, plays his assistant, and he's lamenting the fact that all of the great supervillains are behind bars or institutionalized, and he thinks, well, what if we get one of them out and just so we can have a super foil. And enter Jeffrey Rush as the amazing Casanova Frankenstein, who's doesn't really look like Frankenstein, but he's just a disco obsessed bad guy who's got sharp nails, and he's in an insane asylum, and thanks to Greg Kinnear playing Captain Amazing. Greg Kinnear is at the time, like, he wasn't quite Greg Kinnear, like that, became a little bit more famous post As Good as It Gets. He was known for Talk Soup stuff at the time, and he, like, just in the scene with Ricky Jay in his limo, where he, the facial expressions he was doing, talking about Casanova Frankenstein, it's killer stuff. Sorry, there's some black helicopters flying above. You must have heard Moikey talking about Area 51. But yeah, just the facial expressions and his comic timing is great. And this film is loaded with like everybody doing improv stuff. So it yielded tons of great quotables in the process. That stuff that's not necessarily in the script. But yeah, he uses his Clark Kentish alter ego Lance Hunt to free Casanova Frankenstein, also with the assistance of is it Annabelle Leake, who is kind of a Lena Olin's character, is a kind of a Harley Quinn-esque character who got written out of it. Talk Soup. Oh, remind me to show you my Talk Soup mug at some point. My buddy, when I was living in LA, he was interning for Talk Soup, so I would write his college essays so he could graduate, and in return he would give me like free food and swag. So I got a killer Talk Soup mug from that period. And he used to go on there, like, they'd always get the interns on the show too. So there was a good one where they talked about like how, like, I don't know, so he encountered some radiation and his testicles got super giant, so they like cut to him on one of those big inflatable like bouncy balls, and he's like, I don't know what you're talking about, my testicles are fine. Classic stuff. Anyways, yeah, shout out to my buddy Wags if you're out there somewhere. I've not seen Angus, so I don't know what I think about it. I will have to watch that sometime. But yeah, so the scheme runs not counter to Captain Amazing's wishes, as Casanova Frankenstein is actually really smart about what he's going to do and is not really excited about the old rigmarole and the status quo of a dumb back and forth for show, and he actually smartly ensnares Captain Amazing, and the scene between the two of them is fantastic. Great dialogue, and yeah, funny stuff, even though Moikey says it's not. But but yeah, so, and then of course Mr. Furious is the person that's spying on Casanova Frankenstein and seems to know what's going on, while the other guys are smartly going back home, and yeah, it's a work night, they've got to get up in the morning, that sort of thing. Eddie Izzard and Praz from the Fugees are the Disco Boys, the leaders, Tony C and Tony P. Eddie Izzard is Tony P, and great stuff. I do have Voodoo, so I will check that out. And yeah, the cast is killer, and some real interesting thing. Dane Cook was in it before Dane Cook was anybody, and Artie Lang, etc. And Doug Jones also in there in a little bit part, which is one of the coolest scenes that Deadpool 2 actually borrowed heftily. The superhero audition scene was pretty much ripped wholesale from the Mystery Men audition scene. But yeah, eventually Mr. Furious has to express to his friends that Captain Amazing is being held against his will in Casanova Frankenstein's mansion, and that they should go and rescue him. And there's all sorts of goofy moments in between as they do so. There's a killer encounter with their vehicle versus the Corvette limousine that Casanova Frankenstein rides around with, including the fantastic bit where Mr. Furious just gets angry and just screams and just scrambles on the hood and like pulls at the Corvette logo. That's like all he's got. Good stuff. But along the way they determined that they need more people to help them out, so that scene I was talking about where they actually hold auditions was fantastic. Paul Rubens, who I think Moikey was mentioning before, it was fantastic seeing him again in something non-Pee-wee related, as much as I love Pee-wee, or non-bit part related like Batman Returns. He is in the film as Spleen, the man who has a gypsy curse that gives him supernatural flatulence powers, and he can actually calculate for wind speed and and distance and knock people out with his impressive farts. And they also meet Invisible Boy, played by Kel Mitchell, who has the power of invisibility as long as nobody's looking at him. Oh, sorry, I got an itch. Yeah. Anyways, and again, some killer dialogue sprinkled throughout, and most of it's so casual, throwaway stuff, like when he invites the guys over to his house. He's like, his dad is just sitting there on the couch looking at, I think he's reading a newspaper or something, and he's like, Dad, I'm just going into my room with 3 strange men. Like, no response at all. Good stuff. So he's on the team, and then once they interview Ballerina Man and Pencil Head, even though I think his shirt says PM, so I think the costume designer thought he was Pencil Man. But yeah, Pencil Head and Son of Pencil Head. The PMS Avenger, all sorts of great stuff. And then, yeah, Dane Cook is Waffler. I used to recite that all the time. His lines, what is it? Golden Crispy, bad guys are history. Waffler! And he's got a, syrup of justice, or syrup of truth, or whatever, but it's light. Good stuff. He farts. Nah, man. Yes, he farts, but that humor doesn't fall flat. It's great stuff. You gotta love it. Yeah, the Spleen is an amazing character. You know you love it. And then along the way, they encounter the Sphinx, who is someone that they've heard tales of. That's, very mysterious. And Wes Studi is fantastic as Sphinx. Sadly, they cut out a huge section of the film, but it's on the DVD, in which they go to the Sphinx, because the only way to summon him is to go to a taco stand and order the correct combo meal, and then he will know about you. And so that scene is actually in the deleted scene section, but they cut it out of the film, and he kind of shows up and decides he's going to become the spiritual leader of the group, much to Ben Stiller's, Mr. Furious's chagrin, because he sees himself as the leader. He's the guy, again, with the band metaphor. He's the guy that joins the band, starts the band, and is the guy that puts all the effort into promoting the band, but is the least talented guy in the band. But then along comes the Sphinx, who is the master of horrible, inspirational, epithets. Like, if you don't learn to master your rage will become your master. That's what you were going to say, right? So there's a lot of internal conflict within the group once this new status quo is brought about, and they do attempt to attack the compound of Casanova Frankenstein and encounter Captain Amazing, and everything goes very, very poorly. And they realize they need to get some firepower, so they go visit Heller. Tom Waits is the most Tom Waitsian dialogue ever, and he prepared a lot of it himself. He's got all these wacky contraptions. He has like a blame thrower that you aim at some people and it forces them to start throwing blame at one another, and a shrink ray that shrinks people's clothes until they're uncomfortably tight, and a canned tornado. And the special effects are... I was reading somewhere recently where someone was complaining about how they hadn't aged well, but I think they've aged well, far better than other films from the 90s, like Air Force One. Even the canned tornado is kind of cheesy, but it looks good enough, and the effects of the bowler still look pretty good. Janine Garofalo comes in as the final member of the gang, who is not necessarily a super heroine, but she does have a superhero dad who has been murdered, and she's looking to avenge him. She's also he was a bowler, Carmine the bowler, and she decided to put his skull inside a bowling ball, and it has supernatural entities and can act on its own, and she also talks to it. You don't hear the voice, or nor does anybody else within the story that she talks to, so you don't know if she's insane or not, but it does seem to have its own volition, and it seems to be actual ghost possessed bowling ball. But yes, the bowler, or baby bowler as Tony P likes to call her, she gets into the gang, and it's great how these kind of sad sack heroes are all pretty cool with joining this gang. And again, it's that whole thing about, like, you join a band, and like when I would throw bands together in high school, like nobody was really any good, but it didn't matter, and nobody was like, hey, I don't have time for this, or I should really focus on something else. Some of these guys are on the verge of divorce at all times, and you have Ben Stiller's character, who doesn't even have anybody in his life, because he's pushing everyone away by projecting this tough persona, and he thinks that he scares people, but he doesn't scare anybody. And and what was that? Tornado effects on Twister. Oh, tornado effects on Twister is the camel voice. Slow it down. Nice. You gotta have some animal noises in your sound effects. But yeah, I love that they just kind of come together. And Spleen always tries to pick up the bowler, and she shuts it down, but she still has some sort of affection for him. And it's the main core group are loath to allowing other insiders into the band, so to speak. But yeah, it's a fun dynamic. And Jeffrey Rush is, I love his fake whatever accent he's trying to pull off. He's got this insane mansion inspired by Gaudi, and a lot of people will reference the Tim Burton aspects of it. And apparently Kinka Usher was saying that people thought that Tim Burton actually directed the movie because Kinka Usher never went on to do something else. They thought it was like a nom de plume or something like that. But Kinka Usher did go on to do something else. You've probably seen tons of his commercials on Super Bowls, etc. Like we're seeing lots of Visa commercials, and he did the Yokiro Taco Bell commercials like back in the day. Super Bowl commercials like the ones where there's like a squirrel on the road and it starts screaming, and everyone else starts screaming, all the animals around are screaming. Like, he did that, and tons of stuff. And the guy is insanely rich. So it's funny because he gave up a film career, quote unquote, but he just sold his $35 million mansion that was a replica of a Spanish palace recently because he wants to focus more on living in his Italian villa. So, yep, his career went down the tubes. But yeah, he just kind of found he was into directing commercials, and they're simpler and shorter. And Moiki, going to bed. I thought you were going to watch Mystery Men right now. You can't go to bed and watch Mystery Men unless you're going to watch Mystery Men in bed. So there you go. Let's see what his answer is. But yeah, so it's got a fun lead up to them now having weapons that are non-lethal. At Captain Furious's, or Mr. Furious's scrapyard, there's a Herkimer battle jitney, which is such a Tom Waitian thing to say. This truck that they revive and use as their battle weapon on wheels. And all the other dialogue that he comes up with is great. Like, he's kind of hustling his non-lethal weapons like a used car dealer, and he's like, oh, that comes with what I forgot. He said something holster, and I'll throw in like all sorts of extras and like a warranty and stuff. And I love the bit where Janine Garofalo gets so excited that there's a manual. Ooh, there's a manual with these. But yeah, nobody rents any chickens, but maybe if they ever do a sequel. And yeah, I'm a sucker for Tom Waits stuff, so it's great stuff. And there's a big, huge finale. Sadly, they cut out some of the stuff, but there's you have to have the master scene where you get all the gangs in town together, to have a big Goldfinger-esque moment. So of course, Casanova Frankenstein drags in the not-so-goody mob, which were the actual goody mob, so CeeLo's there, and the rest of those guys. So there was just a rap group there as a gang. And, yeah, Twister is the shit. That's my jam. And there's Michael Bay, who was another, commercial director, and, of course, friends with Kinka Usher, is in a group of frat guys that are a frat guy gang. And there's the Suzies, which was a bunch of like Japanese guys that looked like they just escaped from YMO, and also like 60s style vixens. And yeah, so there's the mystery men encountering these people and determining on if they actually have powers of some sort as the film progresses. And yeah, it's got a fun. Some people have claimed it's overlong, and I can see that, and they did have to cut out some of the encounters with some of the gangs, but it moves along at a decent enough-ish clip. It's over 2 hours still. It's 2 hours and 2 minutes, but yeah, quote-wise, it's killer. Don't listen to Moiki. Yeah, and it's got a mix of kind of purposefully clunky, dumb humor, and there's some scatological humor, and Lots of flatulence flying around. But Godfather box says this Godfather box is THX certified. Yes, it is. But yeah, so it's got a little bit of a line that it straddles of just really, really clever, witty one-liners, and then just really silly, cheesy, dumb humor. Sitting on forks, that sort of thing. But I think it works fine. I can see maybe it falling flat for some people, or if you're not in the right mood. My wife hates it notoriously, even though she recommended that I talk about it. She hates it and doesn't understand why I love it. But I do love it, and every time I watch it, I end up enjoying it more and more. And the quotes just keep on coming from it. And this is the end. I enjoyed that. Anybody like Superbad and Pineapple Express? Yep, love them both. Superbad was one of my favorite movies the year it came out. I saw it like 4 or 5 times in the theater. I saw it like 2 or 3 times before it even came out. And then my wife took me on my birthday after it came out. Love Superbad. I'd still love to see the theatrical cut on Blu-ray, because I just have the director's cut. But yeah, so Mystery Man, I did my part. I went to go see it a couple times in the cinemas, and I picked it up on DVD. This was one of my DVDs I used to watch a lot when I got my first big screen TV, which was a 43-inch Sony RP-TV. I used to pop this sucker in alongside, The Matrix and Fifth Element all the time. It's got some cool effects, like the cityscapes. It's got a little mixture of CGI and practical model effects, and a lot of good, flybys, and I like it. It's got zazz for sure. And the 5.1 surround track I got Dolby Digital on here is it's pretty tasty. It's got some occasional split surrounds, and there was one bit where they it was going to be like a Pee-wee's Big Adventure moment where they enter the room that Captain Amazing is held in, and it's completely pitch black, but you hear all the characters talking. They were going to really drag that on and have the characters like having major conversations in the split surrounds around the room, but it never happened. But all right, Pete disliked it the first time, liked it the second time. David has not seen it, so yeah. So apparently I whiffed in the selection this week. I don't think many people really care about this movie one way or the other, but at least maybe I'll con somebody into watching it. But see a Trackmaster doing the I love that guy. What's the name of that YouTuber that does the cover tunes of songs, but every song he does is he reworks the melody to be All Star by Smash Mouth. I like his Kill Switch Engage one, because the Kill Switch Engage guys watched it and I gave him a shout out. That was pretty funny. But yeah, Mystery Men. It's out there. It's out on a Blu-ray that nobody really cares about. But it's cheap, so you can get that, and it probably looks a little bit better than the DVD. It's out on LaserDisc. The LaserDisc is stupid expensive, but it's nice. It's widescreen. It's anamorphic. It does have a couple decent special features on here. It's got one of those spotlight on location things, which is under half an hour, but not too bad. It does have some scenes of Ken Usher directing the film, so it's not actually Tim Burton. And it's got a little bit of music stuff. It's got Kel Mitchell's rap video on there, and it's got some written notes about the origin of the Flaming Carrot comics, etc. And it talks about the soundtrack CD, trying to hustle that. But the deleted scenes are where it's at, for sure. Definitely get the deleted scenes so you can see the bit where they encounter the Luis Guzman plays the head of the taco cart, or the taco store, where they go to meet the Sphinx for the first time. And it's weird. It's shot strange. It's got a lot of zazz to it, and I like the humor. I think it's pretty damn funny, so I recommend picking it up if you get a chance. And it's a celebration of a couple of different dynamics. One, don't put up a bogus alternate persona and just kind of be yourself, but then also you believe in yourself, and there's a lot of kind of don't lose your dinosaur type moments if you're Step Brothers fans, about sticking to your guns, and keep that band together and try not to get divorced in the process. But of go out and play those gigs that nobody wants you to play on Wednesday nights and give it your all, man. So, Mystery Men, that's where it's at. So, there we go. That's enough on that. Oh, David said I was one of the founders of my interest in LaserDisc. You are welcome, my friend. Glad you got bit by the bug. And some LD love in here. Nice. What's going on? Someone's stocking shelves, huh? I was a stocker in ShopRite High School. I was a master of the price gun. I worked the Haba aisle. A lot of my friends worked the grocery beat. The grocery beat was tough, man, because you had to deal with Carl. Carl was manager of the grocery area, and he was a beast. He was a little surly. Pretty sure he drove a Saab and did lots of cocaine, and he was tough on the kids working for him. So yeah, you had to hustle, price all those cans of beets and beans and tomato paste and get them on the shelves quick. But yeah, I worked in Haba, man, health and beauty aids, and my boss was super cool. In fact, I still see her occasionally now. She used to go to all the movie screenings I would go to, and yeah, I saw her not too long ago. But still cool after all these years. And a little bit more relaxed, but I was master of pricing and full access to the back stock room, and was into blocking. Yeah, some nights I'd just get in and I'd block. Yeah, you had to like pull the merchandise up front and make a nice clean front facade to the shelves. It's good times. And I'd get access to videotapes of Batman and E.T. and Star Trek 4 before they were out in the public, so I could get a copy a little early, which was tasty. And so I stocked it, and then eventually people would steal your price guns, and I had the good price gun, so I put all sorts of satanic stuff on it and pentagrams and everything, so I knew nobody would take it, because I even wrote like, this is cursed, this price gun, Satan will steal your soul if you use this price gun. So nobody would steal my price gun. Then my buddy worked in the room where he had like the old like crappy modem that would connect with the home base and get the new prices for every week, so I'd have to like go and get the price list from him and go change them all. It's good times, man. Fun. Yeah. ShopRite. I worked there for a hot minute. And yeah, I was a stalker. It's good times. Anyways. Do I have any? I think I have any magnetic video VHS. Maybe I do. I had a killer VHS collection, and I ditched most of it right before like the hipster VHS boom happened. I could have made a mint on my VHS tapes on eBay if I just held on to them a little bit longer. But I had a pretty sick collection, and I was like, I'll get all these on DVD or Blu-ray at some point, and without really doing research onto whether or not they were available or LaserDisc. But yeah, some of them are replaced on LaserDisc, so I got to give Moikey credit for hooking me up with one of those titles, Full Moon Spit and the Pendulum. So thanks, Moikey. I need a movie titled The Laser Bug. Could you please do it in your shout out for a second? All right, The Laser Bug. Who's my favorite director? It's tough. For a while it was Fincher. For modern directors, he's probably still up there. Fincher, Krzysztof Kieslowski, of course Hitchcock. I'm a Hitchcock apologist. I know there's that you're like a normie cineast if you're into Hitchcock, but screw it. I like Hitchcock. But yeah, Fincher was like the guy that like really connected with Michael Mann. Speaking of which, I watched Miami Vice this week again, and like totally fell in love with it for the 15th time. So someday I got to do a proper Miami Vice thing. But we did Heat recently, so. But yes. Nobody beats The Wiz. Nice. I remember The Wiz. Good stuff. Yeah, I worked some retail. Ooh, Zombie 2 uncut UK VHS, at least over 1,000 pounds. Ugh, God, don't remind me. I don't even want to know what I got rid of. I still have some cool VHS titles kicking around, but probably nothing worth like a mint. A-Track Master's jamming some tunes. Cars and Little Mermaid 2000 VHS. Was it Any what Black Diamond tapes? Yeah, you can get $1 million for those suckers. Yeah, but yeah, they are spiraling out of control for sure. I just did a show about VHS not too long ago on NPR in Hartford. I'll throw up a link about it. It was pretty cool. I had myself and a couple other VHS enthusiasts and old school owners of rental shops talking about stuff, and I brought some choice tapes with me. Yeah, Kubrick I'm hit or miss with. It's more I'm one of the stuff I love. I do love. It's more like Kubrick fans get me twitchy sometimes. So, yeah, we'll see if he's in my top 5 or not. But yeah, the Kubrick films I love. I do really love. 2001 is up there. Clockwork Orange is up there. The Shining's up there. Full Metal Jacket's up there. But then I didn't really love Eyes Wide Shut. I was not a fan of Eyes Wide Shut. I'll still watch it. And yeah, I know. Diamond VHS is bullshit. I was just making a joke. He had the golden dick on the cover. Yep. What's going on here? But yeah, Kubrick. I need to get more of his older stuff. Yeah, Paths of Glory, Killer's Kiss, and all that stuff. Dr. Strangelove too. Awesome. And I love that he, helped out, anybody that needed help and was just in love with cinema, and ended up helping Ken Adam light the set of The Spy Who Loved Me. Thought that was super cool. And just I heard the local cinema house in Hartford, Connecticut that has been around since the 60s was supposed to get a print of Clockwork Orange when it first came out, and there was a local theater that was kind of flexing their muscles. That's kind of one thing about digital, is at least you can get films to art house cinemas and they don't have to fight with the big cinemas, because the multiplexes would they would throw their weight around and do the whole, well, we're kind of the big deal. So they were trying to pull that with Clockwork Orange, and Kubrick actually got involved personally, made sure that they got a print of Clockwork Orange, because they had screened other films of his, and he actually knew the guy that ran the place. And yeah, I thought that was cool. In recent years, Jonathan Nolan has been, Christopher Nolan, sorry, has been getting involved with getting them his personal prints and things like that. So great cinema house too. Cine Studio in Hartford, Connecticut, if you're ever in the area, in the East Coast. Eyes Wide Shut. Yeah. I always called it Eyes Wide Shit with my co-host buddy. We hated that movie. We wanted to go see it together. 99 was a tough year, man, because we freaking loved Fight Club and American Beauty to a lesser extent, and Election, and so many good films that year. But yeah, Eyes Wide Shut just felt like warmed over wannabe Kozlovsky. But yeah, I don't know. I'd just rather watch the Decalogue. But I'll give it a shot again some other time. I mean, I love the nasty cinematography. Fantastic. Like, the film grain was alive. It was amazing. So it was gorgeous. But yeah, I don't know. And some of it I enjoyed. So it wasn't all bad. But someday I'll revisit it. Bug's Life on VHS? Yeah, I do. I think I got my wife's copy. I bought it for the first time on DVD, but it was that first DVD. I don't even think it was like anamorphically enhanced or anything. But I still remember being blown away by the color fidelity on that sucker. That was one of the things I would show off to people, because all my friends I had dragged into LaserDisc too, and I was the dick that kind of jumped ship over to DVD, even though I was still collecting LDs too. But I moved over to DVD before they did, and they're like, "Come on, man, you just got me into LaserDisc." I'm like, "Yeah, but check out the colors on this," So, and they'd be like, "Oh shit, that looks pretty good." So yeah, I had that original Bug's Life DVD, and my wife had the VHS, but I think we still have it. Oh man, 4K's going Buster Keaton, nice. Got the Art of Buster Keaton Volume 2 this time. Yeah, I need to really properly get into all that stuff too, and especially watching all these Jackie Chan special features on the Police Story Criterion, all the Buster Keaton talk. get in about there. I've been meaning to really go back and make that happen. I can't watch Clockwork Orange until I'm 21. I've told this story before, but I saw Clockwork Orange when I think it was 8 years old. My dad ran a video store and would just bring home ass tons of videotapes, and he had the crew together. My biological father, I know that drives Mikey crazy, but not my real dad, whose birthday is today. Shout out to my dad. But yeah, he would have me for the weekends after my parents had split up, but he'd have all his buddies over and like his girlfriend and their kids and stuff, and they'd watch whatever they wanted to watch, and he wasn't really much of a a reliable, responsible adult, and would just put on whatever, and then I would be there watching anyway. So he's like, they weren't not gonna watch Clockwork Orange, so I watched Clockwork Orange with them, and it was never the same again. Yeah, I also got to see Halloween, obviously, but that was the case where his girlfriend had to babysit me while he was out doing something, and just like put in that and The Rose and just went about her business in another room altogether, turned off the lights, and was like, here's Halloween, VHS, bam. Crap your pants, kids. And by kids, just me, kid, singular. Good times. Yeah, VHS memories. But yeah, I saw Clockwork Orange when I was like 8 years old, and it was never the same again. I didn't quite understand everything about it or all the nuances, but definitely seared a lot of imagery into my head. For sure. So wait until you're a proper age and then see it. But yeah, it's one of these days I'll have to revisit Eyes Wide Shut, but it just a lot of it fell flat for me. Favorite 007 LD. I guess I have to go for the rarity factor alone. The World Is Not Enough, just because it's so hard to find. I do love the entire Japanese widescreen series, and the rental ones with the gold discs are particularly fun. So I could be happy with those. But I do enjoy the THX releases as well. Man, GoldenEye is a classic release. The DTS one crushes, and the special features are pretty damn good. The box sets are really nice for Thunderball and Goldfinger, but yeah, I guess I got to go with The World Is Not Enough, just because of the the rarity case. The Criterions are nice too. But favorite Bond actor is Sean Connery, and then the follow-ups are Daniel Craig and Timothy Dalton. Like they're kind of like in the near sub Connery range. And 14 or 15 when I saw Robocop. Yeah, Robocop is a intensely violent film. Nice. But yeah, Clockwork Orange is awesome. Gotta love vintage Kubrick, right? Yeah. Okay. Kubrick. Yeah, Kubrick had the attention to detail for sure. That's why I love Room 237, because you can read whatever you want into his work because of the amount of detail that's there. But yeah, but my favorite Bond movie overall is On Her Majesty's Secret Service, but my favorite Bond disc is I do have all the Japanese Warner Brothers LDs. I got the original series, and I got the Evergreen reissue, and the Happy Birthday 007 disc too. That kind of came along the side of that. Starship Poopers. Yeah, but Connery is he wasn't the one I saw the first, but immediately thereafter, because it was cool, I saw I don't think I saw all of Moonraker, but the first one I saw all the way through was probably For Your Eyes Only. I saw that a couple times in cinemas, and then shortly thereafter, maybe within a year, my stepfather, is my dad, took me to go see a double feature of Thunderball and You Only Live Twice, though out of order, which was funny. They had a reissue series going on that year, and yeah, Thunderball was last. And so I saw Sean Connery playing Bond super quickly after seeing more. So there never really was a chance for it to settle in. Like, my mom was a big fan of, Moore as Bond. So, I mean, she was biased, but I never really had a chance to settle into that he was my Bond kind of thing. So, because most of my peers were Roger Moore fans because he was their Bond. But yeah, I was introduced to the Connery stuff so quick. So, yeah, THX Text. I've got that on my Toy Story box set, I think. If you like THX stuff, definitely tune in next week. We might be talking some THX stuff. Don't want to spill too much, but Strictly Sega found the Bond collection on Facebook Marketplace, and oh, nice. LaserDisc, or did you go Blu-ray? Living Daylights. See, Living Daylights that's top 10 for me, maybe top 5. I love that one. Yeah, Spy Lovely and Free Eyes only are my two favorite Moore ones, and Moonraker I love for. Partly for the cheese factor, but there are some elements of Moonraker that are pretty damn cool, and are, it's got a John Barry score, which helps, and some good travelogue stuff in there. But yeah, it's like some of the elements that made Spy Love Me great carry over into Moonraker, and then some of it just spirals out of control. But yeah, so I'll always love that. But yeah, Spy Love Me and Free Eyes only are my two favorite. Favorite ones. And I forgot to mention, I was going to mention when we were talking about the score for 12 Monkeys last week, that the composer for 12 Monkeys, I was saying there was a Spy You Love Me connection, and the connection was that he was the one that did all the the Moroccan music in there, and Marvin Hamlish got him on board to do that, and theme for Anya in there. So I forgot to mention that totally last week, even though I promoted it as I was going to mention it. But Starship Troopers, yeah, man, I dig some Starship Troopers. Again, that's another one my wife doesn't like, but I think part of the reason I liked it so much too was the connection in my mind to the Alien Legion comic book, which I was a big fan of in the 80s, and there's a little bit of Alien Legion feel in it. So, I thought about making videos. Oh, 4K cinema, yeah. I was going to say, I'm definitely thinking of something. But yeah, I miss 4K's videos too. He had a lot of cool pickup videos and things like that. But I know the struggle of getting content out there for sure. Like, it's work. What else am I missing here? But yeah, I'm also, sign me up for some more 4K stuff. I love 4K's introductions. He's always got some badass intros. Uncut License to Kill. Yep, I got that too. License to Kill is a cool flick. I know a lot of people were complaining that it was Miami Vice taking over James Bond, but I also happen to love Miami Vice. I'm perfectly fine with that. And I was a Dalton fan, so it worked out fine for me. Moonraker's the first Bond. Yeah, Moonraker's, I can't shake that one. I mean, even as dorky as some of it is. Yeah, and it is a bit slow at times, but yeah, man, Casino Royale is, that was a moment. Like there was, I always lamented the fact that I never got to see Goldfinger and Thunderball in the cinemas, like when Spy Mania was going on in the mid '60s, and all the Bond movies I used to go see in the cinemas, and they were a big event, but there were certain kind of ones that were like a big event. Spy Who Loved Me was a bit of that, but I was just a little too young to be tapped into that. I was focusing on Star Wars at the time hard, but I didn't get to see it in the cinemas. It was a little too old for me at the time. But yeah, I saw Casino Royale, and it was I was excited that for once one of the ones that was a little more down to earth and more in the vein of the Fleming material. That's the stuff that doesn't usually go over as well with audiences. So it was, I felt like I was in Bizarro universe, where the Bond, the Bond movies that I love more are the ones that people don't talk about as much in the general public. So they would be like, "Oh, that one was boring." That's usually what they'll say. So I was psyched that one of those movies was actually going over really well with audiences, and nobody was complaining that it wasn't Die Another Day too. So there was a buzz about Casino Royale. It was it was like a second golden age, a second Bond golden age. GoldenEye had a lot of buzz about it too, but I actually didn't like that the first time I saw it, so I wasn't feeling that as well. But no, I mean, I would go see Casino Royale multiple times in the cinemas, and you could, there was just like a palpable energy in the audience. Like it was something. It was really amazing to see in the big screen. And I freaking loved the Chris Cornell track, You Know My Name. Like, I know that's a little bit hit or miss with some people, but I love that song. And the entire opening credits, the title sequence was just goosebumps material. And that was one of those movies where there's certain movies that come along where like every single moment of it is like ingrained in my DNA, and I'm waiting for that next moment to happen. Like Fight Club was like that, and so Casino Royale was an event for me, and I was ordering the HK DVDs that were coming out like a couple weeks before the US DVDs, so I've got like so many copies of that thing kicking around because I was just so in love with that film. And I wrote it's probably still out there. I wrote a couple essays, I think, about it online, and I was just so in love with Casino Royale. So, and the funny thing is, I wasn't really a big fan of GoldenEye, and then freaking Martin Campbell ends up making like one of my top 3 Bond movies. So, completely kicked my ass. And everyone, all my friends and family were having fun, like nerding me out, like watching me nerd out, when I'm waiting for him to say the bitch is dead, I'm like, come on, say it. I was like, oh, they're just nerding out, because Casino Royale is one of my favorite Fleming books too, just because it's so fast and kind of fun. What else we got going on? Rutger Hauer, favorite film starring Rutger Hauer. Well, that's a bit of a boring one, because the answer is obviously Blade Runner. So, after Blade Runner though, probably The Hitcher, because that was one of my favorites in the 80s particularly. But I mean, I love all the stuff. I love Blind Fury, and then obviously he's got smaller parts and other things. I still haven't seen Hobo with a Shotgun, but obviously he's got some Batman Begins stuff, and his short bit in Sin City was cool. Nighthawks, he was fantastically over the top in that, so that was great. Split Second, I'll check that out if MVD releases that for sure. But it's got to be Blade Runner. So, unfortunately, what else we got going on down here? Criterion Blade Runner, definitely hunt that down. There's a couple pressings. The original CAV has 2 pressings. 3M did one, and I believe Pioneer did the other one. And there's actually like a little bit of differences in the packaging too. The gatefold has like a coated white interior in one release, and the other one's just got like bare cardboard in the other one. And there's a paper insert that's even like a different color. I think one's like bright green, one's like a kind of off white. And the 3M one, obviously Criterion was leaning heavy on 3M, Image was leaning heavily on 3M, so there was a lot of rot around that time. They were having a rough time production wise, so you could probably find some clean copies, but you might get some speckling with 3M ones. But the Pioneer ones look good. So I've got 2 versions of the CAV gatefold, one of each pressing, and then I've got the CLV reissue, which is nice too, but it doesn't have any of the special features. The special features aren't amazing. It's all that step frame kind of stuff. There's some artwork, production design stuff, and it's not one of the must-have Criterions for the supplementals. Especially considering the importance of Blade Runner and the special features that have come on the other side of Paul Sammons' future noir book. But they could have gone a little bit deeper for sure. But just releasing that movie in widescreen was like an amazing service to the film going or a film watching community at the time, because at that time I just had the VHS copy that I taped off of cable, and then the VHS copy that got released with the extra scenes from the international cut with the extra bits of violence. But when Criterion dropped that, it was like, that was kind of like the beginning of people reevaluating Blade Runner, I think, and led to paving the groundwork for the success of the director's cut and beyond. So yeah, kudos to them for that release. It's killer stuff. So yeah, I recommend it. But yeah, they both look good. And then there's also a Japanese port of the Criterion release with the extras. I don't have that one yet, but I hear it doesn't look quite as good as the Criterion US release proper. But sorry, Trackmaster doesn't like the Dalton, but yeah, I freaking love the Dalton. Particularly, actually, I love them both, but Miami Vice blends well with 007, right? I'm down with that. And the killer cast and License to Kill. Plus, it had some amazing moments from Fleming novels. It had bits from Live and Let Die in there, and so many little bits and elements that kind of got like peppered through there. From some of the stuff from some of the short stories, etc. So I like that it was giving some nods to Fleming throughout, and yeah, it's just a fun flick. Robert Davi is great as Sanchez, and Benicio del Toro was terrifying, and Wayne Newton was amazing. Good stuff. Carrie Lowell was great, and it's nice having Q having some fun in it too. Everyone always talks about how serious the Dalton ones are, but that one had a lot of fun. Let's see what else I missed. Gotta get catch up here. Yeah, the decompressor chamber death scene is great. Yep. Yeah, You Know My Name is a fantastic. I had to get all the different versions of it too. I finally got the German single, which has there's like the pop version, the rock version. There's like so many different mixes of it. But we shall get them all someday. And then I think I've got a compilation CD with like yet a different version. Some have more of the horns and the strings in them than others. Convoy and Swamp Thing were my go-to HBO movies in the 80s. Swamp Thing, man. I saw that at least twice in the theaters too. And yeah, Superman 2, dude. I still remember seeing that in the theaters, and then I came home and Siskel and Ebert were on, and I turned it on like after it had started, so it was one of the bits where they were actually showing the scene from Niagara Falls, but they were letting it run, and I thought it was like they were showing Superman 2 on TV. This is sick. Like, what's going on? Why are they showing this? It was just in cinemas. And I was like, oh, it can't be at the movies, or I don't know if they were calling it sneak previews at the time or at the movies. But I was like, it can't be that. It's going too long. It's actually the movie. And then right when I was like, sick, it's the movie. I'm going to watch it. It cut back to them. And they're like, yeah, Superman 2, it's okay. I guess you should go see it. Yeah. Yeah, Blade Runner's top 5 sci-fi. Yeah, same here. Alien, 2001's up there. I've got a lot of other like smaller sci-fi movies too that could squeak in there at any moment. Yeah, Close Encounters is a heavy hitter for sure. Yeah, I've got a lot of smaller favorite sci-fi flicks too, so it could get a little crowded in the bottom half of that top 5. Let's see. The Suburban Town intro for HBO going up to the sky. Yeah, HBO was... I used to have to watch at my grandfather's house, and then when my mom hooked up with my stepfather, his house and his parents, they had HBO too, so I used to watch what the hell, the Philadelphia Experiment movie there, but it wasn't called the Philadelphia Experiment, the Fourth Connection, or whatever the hell that movie was, where they go back to Pearl Harbor. Shit, I don't know why I can't think of the name of that movie, but I would like watch stuff like that on their HBO, and it was like sick. And then we got Spotlight, so that was my jam for a while. Spotlight, shining bright, day and night. They light up the stars for you. Spotlight. Yeah, Suburban Town intro. I love those old HBOs. I used to always think of, was it like, who is it? It was, what's his face from Batman? Is it, and his name is escaping me for the moment. He had, there was one in the late 80s, early 90s. It was like, maybe like, was it Kylie Minogue maybe doing it with him? Something like that. But, it was just one of those ones you saw all the time. It's probably on YouTube. I'll find it. Anyways, yes, I'm definitely excited for the Denis Villeneuve Dune. I'm hoping if he can make Blade Runner 2049 as awesome as it was, that he can he can rock Dune. But yeah, I'm down for it. I'm excited. Yeah, I'm sure it'll probably be done better than the Sci-Fi Channel version, but even though I love some Lynch action. In terms of countries, what I collect in terms of formats, yeah, LaserDiscs. I haven't really dug into any PAL stuff, though. My buddy from Sweden's going to hook me up with a PAL player at some point, so mostly so I can watch some PAL music discs that I want to get. And, you know, I'll probably end up collecting the Bond PAL releases from France and Germany, but for the most part, I've got some HK discs and a few other things, but it's mostly Japanese stuff. When DVD was a big thing, I would import from all sorts of places, usually just for things that were released early, like, you know, anything in the UK that hadn't come out in the States until a little bit later. Like, of course, I imported Snatch, and I wanted to import 28 Days Later, but I don't think I got around to it. But then, yeah, I would import a lot of Korean discs, and HK discs, and Japanese discs after I got a multi-region player. But a lot of times I would get the Japanese films that I wanted to get from Korea. So, like, I'd get the Grudge movies and stuff like that, and Battle Royale. I think I've got all Korean DVDs of those. But, yeah, I'd also, like, import, like, the Taxi movies and things like that. So, you know, wherever. And then Blu-ray, when it started, I kind of carried on that trend. Like, I imported and I was excited that UK releases would be playable, you know, even if they weren't the same region. Like, if they weren't regionally encoded, I could still play them, because there wasn't the PAL NTSC disconnect going on anymore. It was HD, so I was able to, you know, watch films properly in 1080p. So I imported Sweeney Todd Steelbook, because that was one, you know, during the like HD DVD Blu-ray fight, and that wasn't available on Blu-ray here in the States. And so yeah, I imported that, and I started to do something. But yeah, I would always import a lot of Japanese discs, like Twilight Samurai and things like that. And so I kind of carried that over into Blu-ray. But then I never did get a region-free Blu-ray player. Like, one of these days, like, it was like, I'll get an Oppo someday, but I never did. And now Oppo's stopping manufacturing. So I still plan on eventually getting a region-free player, but then I got laid off in 2009, and that kind of was the big, yeah, that was like the new depression, like, coming out of that. It was that thing where you're never quite the same. Like, and my spending habits never returned to what they were pre end of the world. So yeah, so now I will talk myself out of a lot nowadays. So sadly, like, my priorities are not in order, but they're not as out of whack as they used to be, sadly. So yeah, and that was around the time that all the boutique companies were coming out. So I'm like, I don't think I would have enough time or money to get all of the Twilight Time and Shop Factory and Arrow Video releases. Like, there's enough stuff in the States, like, in cult movies, you know, Vinegar Syndrome and stuff. Like, there's more than enough for, like, 3 Culturedog lifetimes of stuff for me to watch, like, that, my beck and call. So unless there's a specific movie that I'm dying to have, yeah, I don't really need to import it. Just to import it. Like, I've got some friends and fellow blue tubers that I love watching their stuff, and they'll spend, like I used to, importing German steelbooks and stuff, but all that German stuff ends up getting re-released by Arrow or Scream Factory eventually anyways, and then everybody on Blue talks about how the German version's better. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see. So yeah, man, 2008 killed everybody. Yeah, I never was the same person ever since. Yeah. So yeah, I don't have the desire to import. Like, I mean, if money was no object, yeah, sure, I'd import everything. But I'm also eternally patient now, and I usually have faith that, like it's gonna be released sooner or later. Plus, I've got a huge library of things that I can watch at any time. So yeah, I'm pretty patient. Like I figure I got enough stuff to watch in the meantime. But yeah, if it's something I love enough and it doesn't appear that it's going to be released anytime soon, or there's some sort of rights issue, yeah, I might go for it and import it. So, but yeah, so that's why I haven't picked up a import, or a region free player yet. But thoughts on the new Jay and Silent Bob reboot? I'm down. I'm cool. I enjoyed Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. I mean, it was a little overlong and ridiculous, but it was fun. I had a good time with it, so I'm down with more of that stuff. Kevin Smith gave me my name Renfest, which I should start using that more often. So I'll always go see his movies. Yeah, was there ever adaptation of Stranger in a Strange Land? Not that I've seen, but I swear there was talk of one being made as a mini-series. That was a weird book, man. Heinlein is strange stuff. Like, it'll like set up a mood and then like change it on a dime, like partway through. So it never ends up becoming the story you think you're reading. It changes around a lot. Oh yeah, Oliver Harper. Yeah, we go way back. Yeah, Oliver's got a killer LaserDisc collection video and a lot of great film commentary videos and all that stuff. Yeah, so I'd be down for checking out a 80s sci-fi documentary from him for sure. Yeah, I'll definitely support that. Useness Society is one of those flicks that sadly has evaded me for so many years. It's it's horror collectors 101, I know, but I have never owned a copy of it or seen it, so it's up there. I've seen the Arrow video because that was released before I used to get Arrow video screeners all the time, so I didn't get a screener copy of it, and I've seen that case on the shelf. It's been in my hands numerous times, but I haven't quite picked it up. But Punk Nerd, what's up? But yeah, someday I'll see it. I don't own Street Trash either. That's another film, horror movie 101 title that you have to have. But I got Basket Case at least. I'd be down to see like a proper Heinlein Starship Troopers one. Yeah, the Starship Troopers, Verhoeven one is cool for a Verhoeven and his kind of style is part of the reason I love it. But I would also definitely be down to see like a proper adaptation of the novel. But yeah, that'd be cool. I'd be down for that. You know what one I want to see adapted is Joe Haldeman's The Forever War. That was my book back in the day. I picked that up. I think it was in my dad's collection. Like my parents broke up. My dad left behind pretty much all of his sci-fi paperbacks. They were just still boxed up in the basement, and there was like one point I was like digging through the basement, and I was like, Mom, is he ever coming back for these? And she's like, probably not. I'm like, dude, they are going in my room. So I had like a sick collection of sci-fi books. So yeah, so Joel Haldeman's Forever War was one of the first ones I read, and I was just like, dude, this is awesome. And I think I read another one, Worlds Apart, from him, but that was about it. And I'm sure that's got an option. It's funny because I hear a lot of people talk about that book. There was even a strategy board game that came out that I bought from like my local RPG place I used to go to all the time. I don't think I really ever got to play it, but I was like, holy crap, this is like one of my favorite books. But it was pretty obscure because it wasn't cool and new, so like my friends weren't reading it. It wasn't like David Brin, or it wasn't Orson Scott Card or anything. So yeah, I didn't think anybody else knew about it, but come to find out, it was actually a pretty critically beloved sci-fi novel. So Ender's Game movie, it's on my shelf. I still haven't brought myself to watch it. I love the book, and I know everybody has problems with Orson Scott Card because of his blogs and everything like that. I always forget why, but I know he's got some controversial thoughts on something. But at the time I read the book, I knew nothing about his personality or anything, and just read it and was amazed by it. And so many other movies have kind of ripped it off, and stories have ripped off that kind of story. But that book was really immersive and intense. Speak for the Dead I had, and that's about as far as I got in that series. Speak for the Dead didn't quite have the same mojo as Ender's Game. Ender's Game was like, that was a page turner, man. And yeah, so the movie came out, and I was like, it's gonna be like one. They can't really get away with doing the twist from the book properly because it's like cat was out of the bag. Like, other people had done it already, ripped it off, and like yeah. So I don't know. It could never have the same impact, but I gotta check it out sometime. I do have the Blu-ray. It was cheap, so and if it's sci-fi and cheap, I'll pick it up. Favorite sci-fi authors? It's different. I was a big like for the harder edge, Larry Niven fan. Growing up, I read a lot of Larry Niven. I've got a lot of his books that I still haven't even gotten a chance to, but you know, I read Ring World and Protector and Integral Trees and some of his you know collaborations, Moat and God's Eye. Those I had a ton of Asimov, a decent amount of Heinlein. What else? Most of the heavy hitters. I had usually most of their stuff. But yeah, Larry Niven in particular, I was like really into. Like I don't know. Like I kind of like lean more towards the harder edge stuff, I guess. But then the more kind of comedic stuff. Harry Harrison's Stainless Steel Rat series. I love the Stainless Steel Rat. I was into that, and was it Keith Lammer's Retief series? I used to love those too. But yeah, Stainless Steel Rat was my jam. I was all up in that. And then yeah, who else? I know there's probably a few others I'm missing. Arthur C. Clarke, of course, too. Yeah, duh. But yeah, and then beyond that, somebody was just asking like what's like that book that you use as your guide for life and you reread often. And I don't know if I use it for a guide for life, but Haruki Murakami is one of my favorite authors, and Hard-Boiled Wonderland and The End of the World is one of my favorites. But I also really like the sequel to Wild Sheep Chase, Dance, Dance, Dance. I think that one I almost would use as a guide to life. Yeah, was it the Wind Up Bird Chronicles was really good too. Yeah, after Trainspotting, of course, I was reading Irvine Welsh a lot, so got all his stuff. Murakami, H.P. Lovecraft, like horror stuff is always going to be my favorite. So, and of course, all the Fleming Bond books. I reread the crap out of those, but yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anybody else I'm missing. There's like some authors that I'll just read like piecemeal, like one title here and there, that sort of thing. But Strictly Sega's doing Quantum Solace next. All right, I'm intrigued to see what you think of that, because it actually did well at the box office, but it was kind of in hindsight received poorly. I think it did fine, and everybody I know who saw it when it came out enjoyed it well enough, but it started to get this reputation after the fact. And it had problems because it was released during the writer's strike and all that. But I actually enjoy that film a lot, and it holds up for me. And it's got a lot of juju simmering under the surface that I think gets glossed over by a lot of people. But it is also leaner, and it's actually closer to the movies that I kind of wish they would keep doing. Like I said, it's the closest we've gotten to a Mission movie from Craig. So and there's some great stuff in the score and some great locales, and so yeah, I don't want to ruin anything, but hopefully you dig it. We'll see. Favorite guilty pleasure movie? So let me think. So yeah, I can't just go cult classic, because it's got to be something that is like legitimately reviled that I enjoy. So yeah, I can't just say like any number of horror movies, because there's tons of people that love those things. So it's got to be like something that's not cool to like Titanic. I saw Titanic like 8 or 9 times in the cinemas, and including DTS 70mm, which was amazing. So that's I guess a guilty, but I'm not really that guilty about it. But but it's generally it's very, very fashionable to front on that movie. Even if you do like it, it's fashionable to front on it and say it's only for 14-year-old girls, that sort of thing. That sort of So like the Twilight movies or whatever. But no, I love me some Titanic. What else is like something that I love that is generally acknowledged as something that sucks? Well, I know my wife would include Mystery Men in that. Yeah, I know there's a couple other movies I'm like an apologist for, but I can't think of any other. Yeah, that trumps Titanic, but and I know there's a lot of other like history buffs that like that flick too. So, what are your thoughts on H.G. Wells' War of the Worlds and its film adaptations? You know, that was another one of my paperback books, but I never did get around to reading it. I enjoyed the vintage PAL version, and we have that on DVD. I think I have it on DVD, and that's fun. And I actually did enjoy the Spielberg adaptation as well, for what it was. You know, it wasn't a perfect film, but the intensity of it, and I know it was really him getting out post 9/11 trauma, essentially, in cinema. So it was fascinating seeing something that intense coming from Spielberg. So I kind of respect his ability to go to the edge with that film. Yeah, I enjoy both of those. And then, of course, yeah, the radio play is classic, and films that reference it are classic, like Buckaroo Banzai. Oh, top 10 sci-fi books. Damn. I'd probably have to like sit down and actually write that. Yeah. Yeah, I don't even know what my top one would be. It's a damn good question. All right, I'll work on that for a future one. Cult classic, aka the cool flicks, right? Yeah. Yeah. Everyone craps on Avatar. And Avatar, I guess that's a guilty pleasure too, because even though I also will crap on it as well, because it was like one of those things. Yeah, I get disappointed sometimes when I see films that should be Cameron films, but they aren't Cameron films. So I have like a certain level of expectations for Cameron and his product. And even when he does something that's like a little bit more abstract for him, like True Lies, he still delivered enough of the Cameron with that. So when I did see Avatar, I was like, you know, this should be a way cooler flick than it is, because it's freaking Cameron. The extended cut I enjoyed a little bit more, like even just a little bit. So having him on Earth in the beginning, yeah, helped out a little for me, but it's still like a disappointment, but it's something I enjoy watching late at night on Blu-ray. And it's like, I don't know, if I'm doing something else, like wrapping Christmas presents or something, I always enjoy having something like Avatar on in the background. So yeah, I didn't get lost in Pandora. Like, I didn't have the Pandora effect where I missed that world. I have had other movies where I've had that experience where you miss that world. It didn't connect with me on that level, but and yeah, it felt woefully empty. Like there, it was for such a big epic movie. There really wasn't that much at the heart of it, and yeah, I really wanted to love it more than I did. But that said, yeah, like I said, I will throw that Blu-ray on and stay up until 3 in the morning on a work night occasionally. And yeah, I guess I'm a Last Jedi apologist too. So, though I do know enough people that like it, so I don't know if it's universally despised. It's like, at least in terms of YouTube and the internet, it's universally despised, for sure. But least favorite Terminator movie is, yeah, it's probably Genesis. Rise of the Machines was not entirely satisfactory, but I enjoyed the twist and the finale. It was pretty. I saw that a couple times in the cinemas. It wasn't bad. Had some juju. It wasn't, you know, quite Cameron worthy, but it had its moments. And McGee's Terminator, I saw that a couple times in the cinemas too. Despite the fact that Sam Worthington never worked out for me. Like, again, like, he just seemed like a potato. Like, he didn't really have much charisma, and he didn't have much of a screen presence really. So Christian Bale, however, you know, delivered some good stuff in that, and I like that Michael Ironside's in it for a little bit at least. So I actually, and Anton Yelchin was great in it too. Rest in peace. So yeah, so I enjoyed Salvation a little bit, But yeah, probably Genesis. I've seen that the least. It had some fun stuff with the time travel elements, but it just felt like it was treading water. We'll see how Dark Fate ends up. But top 3 Cameron flicks for Pete is Aliens, T1 and T2. Yeah, for me it would be, yeah, definitely Aliens. The Abyss might be in there as well. Yeah, T2. Yeah, for a top 3 though, that's tough because there's a couple jockeying for position in there. I might have to really ruminate on it. What else? Objective standpoint, how can you defend The Last Jedi? I can't imagine anyone defending it to my eyes. Yeah, I hear so many complaints about it that are just so disconnected from like my reality that because it's so trendy to hate on that film. So the things that people find unforgivable in that film are things that were perfectly acceptable in blockbusters and other films from years past. There's that whole thing now where there's a complaint about everything, and if that standard was applied to classics from the past that people enjoy and love now, like there's no movie that would be acceptable to the expectations put upon the Star Wars films. There's nothing's acceptable. Like, you know, everything is you know, it's something that the director must commit seppuku over. So yeah, my only complaints with Last Jedi was that it focused too much on pathetic Marvel humor, where when, you know, build up a scene to be a dramatic scene, and then it would undercut it with something, you know, as a piss take or something, you know, humorous. And I wasn't in love with Rian Johnson's use of that too much, especially in big build-up scenes. You know, like you can't really connect a dramatic moment like the finale of The Force Awakens and then roll that over to The Last Jedi and, you know, have, you know, the lightsaber toss and all that stuff. It was just too much. It didn't really satisfy anything, and it's one of those situations where, like, oh, well, you know, what are you gonna do? What happens when we wait 4 years? And it's like, yeah, it's a big middle finger. Yeah, so that I didn't enjoy, and but some of the kind of setups, the action scenes, I enjoyed a lot. I actually enjoyed the more times I watched The Force Awakens, I was a little bit more rooted in the newer characters. So more I love the fact that Kylo Ren is just this emo dorky kid. The connections with him and Rey, I thought, and Luke Skywalker were pretty interesting, and that stuff was you know, kind of fascinating enough to watch. And like, all this stuff is miles better than, you know, Attack of the Clones. I've sat through far worse Star Wars films. You know, I saw The Phantom Menace in cinemas probably 3 times, and that film was not successful on just about any level for me. So The Last Jedi actually succeeded on, you know, far more levels than The Phantom Menace did for me personally. You know, some of the setups were pretty damn badass. The whole kind of Snoke finale, I wasn't disappointed with the fact that he wasn't somebody important or anything like that, and the battle that ensued after that was pretty awesome. But yeah, just like, if there was one thing, like, the whole Canto Bight thing didn't really fire on all thrusters for me. Like, the mission concept was pretty cool, but the execution of the mission wasn't that exciting, and yeah, I didn't really care about a bunch of Forcey kids or whatever. But yeah, it's watchable. I'll watch it again. Solo was watchable too. Solo I liked more than Last Jedi, but yeah, it's there's those guys on YouTube, and, you know, it's in their best interest to be completely outraged, but it's like, you know, they're completely, like, outraged over the fact that Rian Johnson tilted the camera 12 degrees to the left during that one scene, and it's like, it's just, yeah, there's just a wall of noise. Actually, it's funny because I did the hatred for Force Awakens was intense too, and I actually did some reviews for Force Awakens when it came out in cinemas, and it came out on DVD, and I shelved them. I was like, there was just too much of a wall of noise surrounding Star Wars in general. So I don't think I'll ever do a Star Wars, like a modern Star Wars video, period. Just because one, I'm sick of YouTube videos about that. So I don't want to be one. And there's just this static, this just wall of noise, and I'm not really hearing a lot of exciting film theory, or I'm just hearing a lot of noise, just a lot of a lot of noise, and a lot of people yelling about character arcs and things like that. But I don't know, I'm not feeling a lot of substance in it. Like the accusations about the film are just as empty as these people are finding the film for me. There's no meat in this. So so just my personal things. So like the humor didn't really work for me that well, and some of the choices Rian Johnson made didn't really work well in connection with the vibe that The Force Awakens was setting up. But yeah, like I said, there was enough of it that was interesting and I enjoyed. And yeah, I'm a sucker for porgs, man. I'll eat some porg meat. Anyway, so that's Star Wars. Solo was fun. Again, I had a couple issues with it, like especially the thing where every character moment that defines a character has to happen within 25 minutes. that was kind of forced, but some of the heisty stuff was really fun, and it had a good vibe for it. The look of it I liked a lot too. But what do we got for time between? Oh yeah, I didn't even mention Lynch and Cronenberg. Yeah, there was my go-to guys for favorite directors. The Fincher, Lynch, Cronenberg, the David crew, and then sprinkle on some Krzysztof Kozlowski on top of that, and some Akira Kurosawa. But that's kind of what I liked about Kylo Ren, that he's a high school bitch. Like it was like, here comes another menacing Darth Vader knockoff, and I'm like, oh, he's an emo bitch. That's kind of cool. Like I like that. I like that he wants to be a cool badass, but he's not. And then he's got this whiny dynamic. I really like the whiny emo-ness of him. I mean, I don't really like those people in real life, but in Kylo Ren on cinema, I'm cool with it. Again, I can't picture any more trilogies out there. There's too much backlash. And the backlash is just, like I said, it's just static now. There's people that hate movies now in general before they're released. They hate movies based on trailers, which is just sheer insanity. Like, I mean, I don't care how bad a trailer looks. I mean, I'm not going to devote 8 paragraphs on Reddit and demand that people walk out and boycott films. Like, I can't handle that. Like, I'm not, people that were boycotting Solo because of whatever bullshit they had wrapped up in their own insanity. Like, no, it's a freaking Solo movie. If it sucks, it sucks, but I'm gonna go see it. Like, and the other people that are mad at Disney for putting out movies, it's like, well, George Lucas had a stranglehold on these things. Like, all I wanted growing up was to see more Star Wars movies, and he released 3 super shitty ones that I didn't like, and then it was like, that was it. And then he just made some TV shows that I didn't watch, and that was it. Like, so the fact that they made movies, even if they weren't the best, at least I was getting some product. So I'm cool, whatever. Most low-key unknown movie I've seen. Trailers don't mean shit, right? But the amount of people that will like start a freaking boycott over a trailer, like talk about like the people. I actually know people that I know in person that like lost their shit over Therm Scissor Punch, a character in Solo that doesn't even really do anything. He's just like a character in a game of Sabacc, and he's just, I thought Therm Scissor Punch was awesome. I want a freaking Therm Scissor Punch t-shirt. Like, he's my man. And I remember as a kid growing up, like I bought all the action figures for all these characters with stupid names that didn't say anything, that were in the background. Therm Scissor Punch was 1,000% in keeping with the the heritage of Star Wars, and side characters that just have dumb names and aren't important, and people were losing their shit over him because like this is the ridiculousness that Star Wars has become. They're just laughing at us, and I mean, people will just be outraged the moment the Star Wars logo hits the screen. Like there's nothing that you can do now. Like so I don't think there's any hope in the future. The fan backlash has just spiraled out of control, and it's really disheartening, and and people will just complain about it. Even if someone drops the most amazing Star Wars film, there's gonna be nothing but hatred. So it's done. I was fine with Luke in the future because one, there's a huge gap between Return of the Jedi and The Force Awakens. And I thought the Luke Kylo dynamic was actually one of the most compelling things about the new films, and the reluctance of Luke to teach anyone anymore, and that whole kind of thing. Like, what if you're teaching Hitler essentially, or someone like that, and then how that ties in with Obi-Wan and other people that have been reluctant to teach, and the fear of your student going bad. And I thought that was really compelling, and I love that whole concept of him having a moment of weakness and his fear getting the best out of him, and actually contemplating whether it would be better or not to kill Kylo Ren, and then changing his mind. But then I love the whole concept of the two perspectives at the same moment, and how they're both correct. And I thought that was really strong writing, and the internet can suck a dick. Freddy's out. Check you later, buddy. The prequels. Yeah, see, for me, the prequels did not have a story. They didn't have world building. They had horrible characters, and they had horrible. Like, every character was just like a lame stereotype, bad jokes, bad. See, I'm kind of on Austin's thing. I don't hate them, but they're not as memorable. Yeah, that's it. But they have a little bit of juju to them, and some interesting writing, and Lawrence Kasdan doing some writing on there. It wasn't like when I saw The Force Awakens, I wasn't blown away, but I was like, all right, someone did a Star Wars movie that was entertaining. So, I did not enjoy the prequels at all. I saw them all in the cinemas. Attack of the Clones I enjoyed the most out of them, I suppose. And I love the Aeronauts versions, but and the bad lip reading. Actually, bad lip reading. Yeah, they only did the original trilogy, but man, oh god, the Phantom Menace was the disappointment like heard around the world, like because I mean, Star Wars was a nuclear bomb in the 70s and 80s. Like it was everything to a whole like generation of people, and then it went away and died down. And then there was also the thing where it almost wasn't cool again. Star Wars or Star Trek? Star Wars for me, because that was my first love. So Star Trek I enjoyed a lot, but it came later. So it was like a way of life, and then there was that period where they stopped making the films, and then it started to become uncool again. And it didn't become cool again until like that whole generation went to college. And then the 90s happened, and then Star Wars was totally cool again. But I used to have nightmares occasionally because I was so disappointed that there were no new Star Wars films, and I used to have nightmares on a regular basis that the new Star Wars movie would be out, and I'd see it, except it was like a crushing disappointment. And so it was so sad to see that my dream come true in '99. And the cosmic joke in '99 was that the Wachowskis released The Matrix, which was this sci-fi movie that just connected with everybody, and so the movie that we were all looking forward to, Phantom Menace, was just dwarfed by The Matrix. And sadly, The Matrix movies kind of fell apart in the sequels anyways. But I actually saw Phantom Menace, like the trailers came out, and I was like, whatever, but I'll go see it because again, it's a trailer. I'm still gonna go see the film. And So opening night, I didn't really care to do the whole like wait in line around the block and all that stuff. And I'm like, whatever. I'll see it. So my friends and I bought tickets, and we actually went. They wanted to go see The Matrix the same night, and I had already seen it at least once or twice at the time. So we bought tickets back to back, and we got out of The Matrix, and we're like, oh fuck yeah! There's this line of people like lined up to see Phantom Menace, and we're like, we're not getting crappy seats. Like, we actually bought more tickets than these people. So we waited until like they like released the rope, and then we just kind of scooted in with everybody and got our seats. And yeah, man, I was just sitting in my seat, and the opening began. I'm like, all right, John Williams music, this is cool. And the opening stuff just started happening. I'm like, wow, these characters are just like horrific Asian stereotypes. What's with the dumb voices? I'm like, this is all pretty boring. And then it was either super stoic, boring characters, or super cartoonish goof baggery, and nothing in between. And the Trade Federation stuff did nothing for me, and Anakin did nothing for me, and midichlorians were like, that was just like a kick to the face. Like, there was a whole generation of us that grew up with the kind of Yoda wisdom, and then once you start kind of encountering real life philosophies like Taoism and everything, and you realize like how much of that stuff is actually in there, and you're like, oh, that's really cool. Like, there's a lot of really neat thoughts into the Force, and then just to be like, no, it's just about Ubermenches. You are the perfect race. It's in your blood. I'm like, what? Yeah, come on. So once midichlorians happened, I was like, I'm out. And then the other kind of crushing disappointment was that Luc Besson had come out with The Fifth Element, and all of the exciting kind of world building in The Phantom Menace just felt like cut rate wannabe Fifth Element stuff. So it was like, I almost felt bad for Lucas, because it was like Simpsons did it better. Like, he got there, it's like Fifth Element did it better, Matrix did it better, everybody did it better. And I do have the LD, so it doesn't have the puppet. It does have the puppet Yoda instead of the CGI puppet. Yoda looks weird either way, but I have the original theatrical cut, Phantom Menace, in case I want to watch it. But there was a couple moments, a couple moments where I'm like, this is pretty cool. Darth Maul, I was down with Darth Maul, but and then I went and I saw the thanks, Pete. But so I'm definitely I'm okay with some of the sequel stuff, but no, I like Poe Dameron and Poe Dameron's relationship with Finn. I like the bromance. I don't know, it just worked for me. And then Rey's thing, everybody was on about her being a Mary Sue or whatever, but I was fine with it, and didn't feel like Snoke was a waste, because one, the movie's not done yet. There might be some more information about him in the future, so whatever. Hux is a little bit over the top, but I don't have a problem with those guys. I'll take all of them over one Jar Jar for sure. Anyways, but I don't know, the same thing happened with Metallica. Yeah, right. The puppet Yoda still, it still sucks. Metallica dropped load, and it was just like it's just like this crushing disappointment. And I was like, oh, the band I loved is over. This happened. And then years later, they came out with Saint Anger, which is like a nasty, gnarly sounding album. It was like them trying to sound like Korn, but failing, but also sounding like nobody else. Like, there's no other album that sounds like Saint Anger, because Metallica trying to sound like the popular music at the day ends up sounding totally different. Just like their cover albums sound so unique, even though they say they fail to sound like the bands they're covering, but they're like awesome. Their covers are awesome. So Saint Anger came out with this horrible sounding snare drum and stuff, but it was dirty and grimy. They made a horrible decision to get rid of guitar solos, but whatever, man. Like, the riffs were good. Like, James was going out of tune. It was like Metallica sucked so bad from the Load era that the only thing they could really do was just like strip everything apart and just make a nasty, dumpy garage album. And then like Frantic and Saint Anger were like blisteringly fast songs, and like I'm like, it sounds weird as hell. It's not the Metallica I grew up with, but I also don't care. Like, it's got like a ferocious energy behind it and a lot of good riffs. And so I actually kind of like Saint Anger, and like obviously like the live stuff sounds a little bit better because it doesn't have the snare drum of Doom. But you know, I even like to, like, yeah, let's make it as trashy and crappy sounding as possible. That said, the Randy Staub remix of Some Kind of Monster from the EP is pretty badass sounding. So there is a Black Album-esque sounding album buried in the mix there. Bob Ross, not Bob Rock, you know, did produce that album, but it's just hidden in there. But yeah, so I always felt like I was taking crazy pills because the world hated on Saint Anger so bad, and I'm like, no, man, Load and Reload, them albums suck. Like, y'all need to get your stuff together. Yeah, I can understand the disappointments with Saint Anger, and yeah, I'm not gonna stand up for that snare drum in court, much like I won't stand up as a witness for The Last Jedi in court. But Load and Reload sucked. So that I'm kind of in the same boat with those prequels. They sucked. Like that was some crap, man. And yeah, but again, like George Lucas disappointed me and he ruined my childhood. But I don't know. I didn't write a college dissertation on it and devote my life to, I don't know, destroying it. And like I didn't boycott it. And in fact, I foolishly went to go see it, like all of them, multiple times. So there we go. Surprised to say many people think Megadeth is better. I've got some friends that like Megadeth better too, and I always kind of saw it that I know some people liked that they were like a little bit of a more jazzier band and they had a different vibe. I was always more of a Metallica guy first and foremost. I've got all the Megadeth albums as well, and I've seen them live countless times. But yeah, like at heart, I'll always be a Metallica guy first. But I guess it's like one of those like Beatles, Rolling Stones things, or Beatles or Elvis things, yeah. But yeah, I do know some people that like them better because of the style of the writing. It's like a little bit more. It's fully jazzy, but it's closer to that realm. And it's not prog, but it's a little bit interesting structures and things like that. But then some of the stuff's super simple, like Symphony of Destruction, which is still a jammin' tune. But David Ellefson's a badass bass player. So yeah, Ryan Johnson is the real devil. And I mean, it is super hip to hate Ryan Johnson now and like drive to his house and throw eggs at it. But that said, I really loved Brick. Brick's a great film. So maybe he just wasn't the right guy for the job. So we'll see. I'm intrigued about the rise of Skywalker. Again, it's the same kind of thing. It's like I'm not gonna marry it, but I'll definitely pony up some dough for it, and I'll see it in the cinemas. Plus, The Last Jedi 4K looks ridiculous. It's awesome. It's gorgeous. Yeah, same thing. Like Metallica and Megadeth for different reasons. And again, all the big four had a different vibe. Slayer definitely had a different vibe, and Anthrax, had the moshier kind of way different style riffs and everything like that. So a different dynamic, but yeah, I do have some friends that were always angry well, not really angry, but disappointed at my wife and me for liking Metallica more than Megadeth. I was just listening to Justice for All today too. Fired that up while I was doing some work, and still a classic. I skateboarded to Strawberries Records and Tapes on release day to pick that up on vinyl, and then I went home and lost power. Good time. That time was magical too, man. That Justice period. The cool hippies like Megadeth better, yeah, man. They put on a good show. I didn't get to see the Prime Megadeth as many times as I should have. The Nick Menza, Marty Friedman period, but I did get to see him as far back as So Far So Good So What on that tour. And Dave Elfson's a cool guy. He just came through Connecticut recently. He's got a tour about, Bass Story. I think My Bass Story or something is the name of his tour. And he's just a wicked cool dude. I've got a couple of interviews with him on my other YouTube channel, House of Zaz. So, best metal band. So my favorite metal band was probably Metallica, just because that was my first love in the metal world. Top 5 altogether, like, yeah, that's rough. Because it's always shifting around. Got to throw Sabbath in there, of course, because the riffs of Doom. Though Merciful Fate is pretty close to Sabbath level for killer riffs. Opeth's one of my favorite bands. They're probably the band I've seen live the most times. For modern bands, Mastodon, I've seen a shitload of times. Gojira, also love. What else? Then Carcass is up there for. They're probably on the top 5. Love Carcass. Classic stuff. Death, obviously. Morbid Angel. Cannibal Corpse. All the classics. But yeah, for the top 5, that's tough, man. Definitely have to be Metallica, and Sabbath would probably be on there too. Opeth might actually make that list, man. I don't know. I've seen them a lot. Ozzy or Dio? I'm down with both. Dio era is badass. He's got fewer albums under his belt with Sabbath, but those are good albums. But again, it's a different dynamic. I think overall I love the Ozzy albums more because the riffs were heavier, and the band was a different band. Like, there was a little bit more lighter on its feet with Ronnie James Dio, but damn, those Ronnie James Dio albums are pretty badass, and the Heaven and Hell album is awesome too. But yeah, even though Sabbath is overall the biggest and best, I'm always going to be like a Metallica guy at heart. Coolest metal artwork, shit. That's where maybe it might be freaking Slayer's Rain of Blood. That is just so like not the usual artwork. But again, Celtic Frost using Giger for To Megatherion. That was pretty cool. That was untouchable. Gojira, either the 1954 classic or the French metal band. I've been a fan of those guys since From Mars to Sirius came out, and was psyched to see them when they headlined in the States for the first time on the L'Enfant Sauvage tour. And Flying Whales is such a jam. But yeah, I was just listening to my Dio Year CD again recently, and I love both versions. Favorite Keanu movie? It's tough, because I do love Point Break. I do love Bill and Ted 1 and 2, and I'm hoping 3. And I do enjoy some Matrix as well. Speed is definitely the coolest LaserDisc of all time. But yeah, like overall favorite, is it The Matrix? I never thought about my favorite Keanu movie. It might be The Matrix. Alright, more on that later. Favorite Judas Priest album or song? Scream for Vengeance is badass. British Steel is badass. Painkiller might be like the best song. 'Cause I remember that dropping, and like I don't know, at the time, me and my friends had all gotten into thrash and stuff, so like we had started off listening to metalcore stuff, and it started to get into like thrash and death metal and stuff. And Painkiller was like, holy crap! Like there was like, we all like Judas Priest and everything, but like there was a certain level of expectance of like insanity and badass, and with all that double bass and everything, and we're like, whoa, snap! Like that was like your hair actually blew back. You were like the dude in the was it the Memorex of the Maxell commercial where you're sitting on the couch and everything around you is just blowing back, and then your hair is blowing back. That was Painkiller, man. That song, nobody was expecting that song. It just came and crushed. So yeah, that might be the favorite overall Priest. But I can dig the old 70s stuff too. But favorite albums in total would probably be Yeah, I don't know, either Screaming for Vengeance or British Steel, but let's see. Point Break 2 was gonna happen. Swayze got to. Oh man, that would have been cool. Let me some Point Break. 4K of speed. I'd be down for a 4K of speed. I'd get that in a heartbeat. Saw that a couple times in the cinemas, and people trash talk it just because it's so damn common, but it's still a fun flick. The Gods. I don't know much about The Gods, so I will have to. I'll have to wait on my opinion on that for the future. But yeah, I need more Priest on vinyl. Actually, I need to complete my CD collection of theirs too. So, Maiden also is up there. Favorites, obviously. Yeah, Turbo is cheesy fun. I will rock some Turbo unapologetically. For other like newer bands, Grand Magus, I love. They started off sounding more like doom metal, but then they transitioned into like a power metal vibe. Hammer of the North is like, killer album. So I love them. I love Witchery, which is like a side band of members of Arch Enemy and The Haunted. Good stuff. There's an Austrian band called The Vision Bleak, which is like one of my favorite bands that nobody ever listens to. They're like a mix of Typo Negative and like Sisters of Mercy, and it's all horror metal. It's like if Typo Negative had sex with Metallica's Black Album, and like some like 80s goth bands came along like for the orgy, and so good. The riffs, the production is cool, and like all their songs are about horror movies or H.P. Lovecraft. So good. I did not see a Point Break remake, but sometime maybe I will watch that. Yeah, 70s Judas Priest, I'm down with all that stuff. Best Pink Floyd. Ooh, yeah, Dark Side is tough. I am also a fan of the Gilmour era, and particularly Momentary Lapse of Reason. That album is, like, for some reason, up there with Dark Side for me personally. Love Animals, Wish You Were Here. I'll still rock the old Syd Barrett stuff occasionally and sing along to Bike. But yeah, there's like that trifecta, I think, for me of like Dark Side, Animals, and Wish You Were Here. It's tough to choose between them. But yeah, Dark Side is untouchable. But Momentary Lapse of Reason is up there for me. That's why I was just watching the Delicate Sound of Thunder live. Well, not watching, listening and watching the live LaserDisc. And remember, everybody had the crush on Rachel Fury, the backing single. Yeah, Animals is good stuff. I saw Roger Waters on his last tour. He did some stuff of Animals live, and I was like, oh, this is good. And his backing band was smoking. It was really good stuff. The Wall is like one of those ones that like it feels too Roger Waters for me. But that said, like I listen to it like non-stop regardless, and I got a bootleg at the live tour, and so it's like it almost feels like more of a Roger Waters solo album to me than a Pink Floyd proper album, but there's enough of the Pink Floyd vibe on it, like Comfortably Numb, obviously. So it's like, it's one of those things, and the sound design on it is fantastic. Run Like Hell is like fantastic. Favorite album in the last 5 years? Damn, I'm trying to think of 5 years. Like what? I'm trying to think of like my favorite artists, like what they've released in the last 5 years. So that's capping off 2014. Yeah, that's a tough one because there's a lot of bands I know that have put out albums in that period, but it's not necessarily my favorite albums from them. So, what's the one I've listened to like the most in the last 5 years? Damn, that's a stumper. You got me. Of course, my battery's about to crap out too. All right, I'm gonna have to remember some of these questions I have failed on and bring them back next week when I have proper answers. The Roger Waters solo, like the tour we saw was cool. He had like a killer surround sound setup, and just sick visuals, like the stage show, which and I can't even call it a stage show because it broke out of the stage into the audience, and it was badass. badass. I remember my wife was like, "Oh, it's cool, we'll go," and like we went. She's like, "Holy crap, I'm so glad we came to this." Like it was so damn good, and I wasn't expecting his band to be as good at crushing the Pink Floyd songs as they were. That said, I did see Floyd with on the the Pulse show. I saw that on the '94 tour. I think it was '94 when I saw him, and yeah, that was a freaking killer show too. Yeah, I'm more Beatles versus Stones too. That said, there's some killer Stones tunes, but yeah, if I had to choose, I'd go Team Beatles. But I think there's more Stones songs that I'm not into than there are Beatles songs that I'm not into. But yeah, David, good to see you too. And yeah, thanks guys for hanging out and chatting, talking nonsense. Yeah, no Blu-ray at the wall. I have the I've got multiple copies on LaserDisc. Oh, the VHS show. Yeah, I'll put that in the I'm about to crap out. I should probably stop. But I'll put that in the I'll put that in the description below. All right, gentlemen, enjoy the rest of the night.